The story opens with an ugly girl standing in front of a mirror, talking to herself. I hate looking at myself. Earlier, in a certain horse stable, long streaks of blood trailed across the ground. A woman was holding the child she had just given birth to. With her face drenched in tears, the mother said sorrowfully, choking back sobs, "How pitiful. A daughter born into a poor family, unloved by her parents, and hideously ugly." She suddenly spoke a name, Paula, meaning a life covered in dust. "Let's call her Paula." Suddenly, shouting and the sounds of a beating rang out in front of her. Useless thing. The mother immediately turned and ran away while the violence continued. The older sister trembled as she held her two younger siblings in her arms, while the more neatly dressed little girl leaned against the cabinet, casually playing with her hair. The people around them whispered among themselves. Right after cutting the umbilical cord, the mother ran off. Good heavens, she already had 5 children. With that master of the house's habits, this newborn won't live long. Starting with the youngest child, who had just been born, then the second child. Seeing her older sister standing in front of her, the younger sister, her body covered in bruises, ran over pleading, sis, save me, save me, I..." Before she could finish, someone grabbed her by the hair and shouted, "Weren't you sold off? Why are you back here?" The younger sister reached out in despair and cried, "Sis." Not long after, people began murmuring, "I heard she died from an infectious disease, right?" Seeing her little sister lying motionless, the older sister could only stand there frozen, while the crowd kept talking noisily. Come on, if it were an infectious disease, they wouldn't leave the body there like that. They probably just made up an excuse after beating her to death somewhere. Several years had passed since the youngest died, and not long after that, even the 4th child starved to death in my arms. Agonized and helpless, she could only scream, "Ah, no," while she painfully buried her unfortunate little sister. The people nearby sneered, "Hey, that face of yours is what saved your life. If you weren't that ugly, you probably wouldn't still be breathing now. You'd have shared your siblings' fate long ago. That's a blessing too." Back to the present, she looked at herself in the mirror and asked, "A blessing? So poor I have to struggle just to survive from day to day." In those circumstances, I lost 3 family members. All I had left was a father like a demon, and a 3rd sister who always despised and mocked me. A dusty life, just like my name. If hell exists, then I think this place is it. Who would ever need someone like me? Then one day, someone held out a bag of money and said, "I want to hire your daughter." Seeing the wealthy man before him, her father immediately replied respectfully, "Sir, for someone like my worthless daughter to catch your eye is more than good fortune. But if later you are dissatisfied, then..." The man set the money pouch on the table and cut him off. "You needn't worry about that. Even if I'm dissatisfied, I won't ask for this back." Hearing that, her father was overjoyed, while she could only stare at the man. A rough hand gripped her small, bruise-covered hand tightly, and so he took her away. She turned to look back, and what met her eyes was the delighted smile of the man called her father. "Take care on your way." Her 4th sister smiled brightly and said, "Goodbye, sis." Then her expression immediately changed to disgust as she warned, "Don't ever come back." She smiled in return. "Alicia, take care of that pretty face of yours. It's the only thing about you worth looking at." Hearing that, Alicia shouted angrily, "What?" As she walked, she thought to herself, maybe this is the road to another hell. Maybe I'm about to face something even worse than what I have now. Even so, frightened as I was, this was the first moment I had ever escaped my cramped little hell. After that, Paula was brought to a magnificent mansion where a woman came out to receive them. "You've arrived." She looked at Paula and asked, "Who is this child?" "The one who'll be taking care of the master from now on." The woman fell silent and observed her for a moment, then nodded lightly and remarked, "I see," before turning and walking away. Paula stared at the two of them in slight confusion, then could only hurry after them. A short while later, she had been dressed in a maid's uniform. The woman introduced herself. "I am Isabella, the head of the maids in this household." "Ah, I'm sorry for introducing myself so late. I am Paula." "Very well, Paula, what can you do?" "I can do simple housework like cleaning and laundry. I also know a little arithmetic and writing, because you need to know the basics in order to calculate." Hearing that, Isabella turned to look at her. "I see." When Paula noticed Isabella leading her away from the main mansion, she thought to herself, "I'm not going to be working in that house." Isabella explained, "This is the estate of the distinguished Bellunita family, and Paula, from now on you will be Lord Vincent Bellunita's servant. You will be responsible for attending to all his needs." Startled, she asked, "What?" "I guessed as much, but I never imagined it was really a noble family. If he's the master, what rank is he? A baron? A count? I've never even seen a noble in my life, let alone served one." After thinking that, she asked in a trembling voice, "I'll be doing it alone? Can I really do that? He's a master." "Paula, listen carefully. From now on, you alone are responsible for caring for the master. There will be no one else. If you don't want to, I advise you to leave this estate at once. Even if you say you're not confident, it makes no difference. If anything happens later, you won't be able to avoid punishment." Paula quickly bowed her head and said, "I'm sorry. I'll be more careful next time." Isabella said nothing more, and the two continued walking together. Paula thought in surprise, "Is this a smaller villa? Compared to the mansion I just saw, it's much smaller." Isabella said, "Only a very small number of attendants are allowed to stay here." Other things you need to keep in mind are, while Isabella was still going on, Paula's eyes were drawn to a portrait hanging on the wall. Then she quickly followed her upstairs. Standing before the door, Isabella spoke again. "Lastly, I have one more thing to warn you about." Her tone turned severe. "From this moment on, everything you see and hear must be kept secret. Be careful with every word you say, and do not react no matter what you see or hear. If you let something slip, it won't be as simple as being punished. Do you understand?" Paula immediately bowed and replied, "Yes, I'll remember." With that, Isabella stepped up to the door and knocked a few times, while Paula lowered her head, terribly nervous. The door slowly opened, and Isabella's voice rang out, "Please excuse me, my lord." Light from outside gradually spilled into the room, revealing the master inside. Suddenly, he threw a glass to the floor, where it shattered, making Paula freeze in shock. Isabella walked to the window and opened the curtains, then bowed respectfully and asked, "Have you awakened, master?" He pointed toward the door. "Get out. I'll prepare dinner. I've had something easy to eat made, so please finish it for the sake of your health." He shouted, "Get out," and threw a flower vase to the floor at the same time. Stunned, Paula thought, what exactly is going on here? Isabella remained incredibly calm and continued, "And I have brought this child to attend to you from now on. This child will serve you from today onward. If you need anything, tell this child." Paula spoke up, "It is a pleasure to meet you for the first time, master." Vincent immediately said, "Get lost." Isabella said, "I will bring dinner." Just as she turned to leave, he suddenly picked up a knife. Paula flinched and hurried over to stop him. "If that hits someone, they'll die." But as she rushed over, she unexpectedly tripped over the bedsheet wrapped around him, and the two of them fell to the floor together in a very intimate position. Vincent's face was revealed clearly before her eyes. Startled, she thought, "Ah, his face." Seeing that something seemed strange about him, she watched silently for a moment. Then suddenly he groped upward from her face to her hair, and she quickly shoved him away in alarm. "Master," she cried in fear. "I'm sorry." Meanwhile, Isabella stepped over and pulled the sheet back up. Paula thought to herself, something isn't right. It's as if she looked closely into Vincent's eyes, as if he could not see. At that moment, Isabella tried to calm Vincent's anger, but suddenly he grabbed a pillow and hurled it at Paula. Vincent Belunita was the only son of Count Manhwa Belunita, and from a young age, he had drawn attention for his handsome appearance and extraordinary intelligence. When his parents died on the same day in an unfortunate accident, people worried about him inheriting the family at such a young age. However, he led the family brilliantly, and the status of House Belunita continued to rise. That had once been his happy past. Then one day, tragedy struck him. It all began at a banquet hosted by the royal family, where an assassin disguised himself as a servant of the house. Thanks to his bodyguard's quick response, Vincent suffered only a minor injury. But the real problem lay in the strange substance the assassin had scattered. At first, his eyes only stung slightly, but little by little his vision blurred. He could no longer distinguish shapes, and then at some point the light went out and darkness covered everything. It was blindness. From then on, the master never left his room. The public was told that he was recuperating from wounds sustained at the banquet. The people who knew his condition were Isabella, the steward who had brought me here, and only a handful of others, including me. Even the servants in the villa did not know. I had to serve the master alone, in absolute secrecy. At that moment, Vincent shouted, "Take it all away. Get out." He swept the tray of food onto the floor. Paula said, "I'll bring something else." "No need. Get out. If there's anything you want to eat, please tell me. I'll ask the cook to make it. It's enough if you just aren't here. Then I'll leave it in the room." I said I don't need it. Paula looked up at him for a moment and said, "The bed sheets and your clothes need changing. It would be better if you took a quick wash too." But all she got in response was irritation. "Get out. Get out now." "Ah." Paula covered her ears and said, "It seems you really don't like me, my lord." That's right. I don't like you at all, so get out. If there's something about me that displeases you, please tell me, and I'll fix it. From 1 to 10, everything displeases me. She thought, then this is going to be hard for me. I'll do my best to satisfy you. There's no need. Get out of my sight. She turned to look at him and thought inwardly, I really want to hit him just once. He's a master, yet he keeps throwing dangerous things around. So if I pretend my hand slipped and smack him once, it should be fine, right? Just once. Seeing her fall silent, he asked coldly, what are you thinking? Don't try anything stupid. I'll kill you. This really is sensitive. She smiled and replied, not at all, master. I need to change the sheets, so please move aside for a moment. She had only just reached out, not even touching the sheets yet, when a clock suddenly flew straight into her head. Paula staggered, her vision blurring for a moment. On my sight, looking at Vincent, she was reminded of her father's vicious face. Her legs froze in place. Holding her throbbing head, she stared at him. A moment later, she bent down to pick up the clock, looking at it shattered to pieces, just like her own life. She remembered the times her father cursed and beat her. Useless thing. Ugly brat. So disgustingly ugly. It's revolting. With a face like that, how dare you go outside? Along with the scorn of her third sister. Make sure you cover your face when you go out. I'm so ashamed. I can't even bear to live in this village. At that point, Paula spoke up. If you don't like something, then just say so. Why do you have to make things this dangerous? Vincent laughed and asked, what? Are you afraid of dying? Even if you died here, no one would care anyway. Trash like you're all the same. As long as there's money, you'll do anything. Filthy vermin consumed by greed. You came here for money too, didn't you? If not, how could you so easily accept an offer from a complete stranger? Do you know why this villa hired you? Because you're exceptionally capable? Because you're trustworthy? No, it's because killing you wouldn't matter. You're just the sort who knows how to please people, and if someday you become irritating, killing you won't be a problem. That's what you are. Paula thought to herself, criticism really is easy, because when people criticize others, they can comfort themselves. Everyone fed their self-esteem by trampling on me, so words like these don't hurt me anymore. But being annoyed is a different matter. Thinking that, she replied, how cruel. Such a great master, and yet you live in such filth. Watch your mouth. Before he could finish, she cut in at once. If I may say one more thing, my lord, you're right. I really am driven by greed. What? As you said, I'm someone no one cares about, and if I suddenly vanished, no one would come looking for me. If you order me killed right now, I wouldn't be able to resist, so you don't need to be afraid. If I still bother you that much, then go ahead and kill me. But if you're going to kill me, please do it in one blow. That would be faster than torturing me. In that case, my lord, excuse me. As soon as she said that, she decisively yanked the bedsheet hard. That action made Vincent fall to the floor. What is this? She answered calmly, I'm changing the bedsheets, my lord. Next, she lunged forward and grabbed his shirt, quickly undoing the buttons. Vincent protested, what are you doing? Don't touch me. Why? Is your body that horrifying? He pushed her face away with his hand, trying to stop her. Don't do this, don't, but Paula had already succeeded in taking off his shirt. She felt a flicker of excitement inside. Good. She looked over his body and judged silently. He has been blind for a year, hasn't left this room for 6 months, and barely eats properly. Too thin. You can't tell when he's dressed because he has a large frame, but his bones are showing clearly, and his whole body is covered in wounds. At that moment, Paula went out and asked Isabella, should the things in a master's room be removed? Every chance he gets, he throws them. It might be better to clear them out. Isabella told her, leave them. Once everything has been broken and there's nothing left for him to throw, I'll replace them with new ones. Paula asked in surprise, what? Isabella added, there was a time I cleared everything out, but he couldn't endure it and started hurting himself. All his fingernails broke and blood was running everywhere. After that, Paula wiped Vincent's body clean. His hands trembled as he clawed at his own face. She gently pulled them away, then unexpectedly touched his face. His whole body suddenly began to tremble. She said, your trousers and underclothes are right in front of you. She went over and spread the clean sheets on the bed. Satisfied, she said, my lord, you can use the bed again now. The moment she turned back, Vincent leaped onto the bed with incredible speed. She exclaimed in surprise, that was fast. Huh, those are clean new underclothes. The ones you just took off are right here. She asked hesitantly, master, could it be you didn't change your underwear? Sitting under the blankets, he shouted, get out. How indecent. Honestly, you need to change your underwear too. Suddenly, he pointed a gun at her and threatened, "Say one more word, and I really will kill you." He ordered, "Get out now." Helplessly, she cursed inwardly this crazy master. Ever since that day, whenever a situation turned unfavorable, the master would immediately pull out a gun. She pounded the pillow over and over. "Just you wait, bastard." When she stepped out of the room, she saw Isabella standing right outside the door, seeing the woman silently staring at her, then suddenly letting out a long sigh before turning and walking away. Paula was utterly baffled. A servant who brought supplies to the annex villa once told me that I was the 10th person hired after the master began living there. Most of the ones hired before me either didn't last long or suddenly disappeared. I had a feeling that if I heard Isabella sigh like that one more time, I too would disappear without a trace. However, setting all of that aside, people said the master had not originally been like this. Even after losing his sight, Vincent still tried to live a normal life until several more incidents occurred. The first was in the village. He went out for some fresh air, but was attacked. The assailant was a young boy who tried to stab Vincent in the chest, but the moment he was caught, he killed himself. Then there was the incident in the mansion garden. When the servants returned after being away for a short while, they heard a scream and ran over, only to find Vincent in disarray, with a dead stranger beside him and an iron rod driven through the man's chest. Then came the dining table, and after that the mansion hallway. The repeated attacks and misfortunes completely shattered Vincent's spirit. The fear that someone was trying to kill him, the anxiety that even the house he had lived in all his life, or even his daily meals, were no longer safe. If people found out he had lost his sight, he might be stripped of the right to lead the family. Above all, there was the excruciating pain, the dark and bottomless depths of the darkness. Paula suddenly sat up, frowning to herself. Again, my room is right next to the master's, and every night, from the other side of this thin wall, I hear pain groans and cries of anguish. He's fighting with death. The next morning, as soon as she had changed into her uniform, Paula quickly went out to work. Seeing that Vincent's door was open, she thought, he's listening to reports. Once a day, the master hears reports on matters concerning the family. Though he's terribly frightened, at times like this he seems like a completely different person. Perhaps this is who he really used to be, mature and passionate. And just then, whether by luck or bad luck, she ran into the butler's piercing gaze, and just like that, the words people in the mansion had said replayed in her head like slow-motion film. The servants who had once taken care of the master never lasted long or suddenly disappeared. As long as there's money, they do anything. Lowly people can be killed if they become troublesome. Without saying a word, the butler quickly walked to the door and reached out, shutting it firmly while Paula trembled in fear. After a moment, she steadied herself. "Pull yourself together, Paula. There's no time to get lost in your feelings. If you don't want to die, you have to act properly. I'm just a servant who can be replaced at any time, and right now, even more frightening than the gun is reality itself." A while later, in Vincent's room, sensing that she was about to pull the bedsheet off him, he immediately pointed a gun at her and ordered, "Let go." In a low voice, she said, "Go ahead and shoot me. If I leave you like this, master, I'll die too. If I have to die, then I'd rather die gloriously by your gun. Come on, shoot and let this end." In confusion, he asked, "Have you gone mad? Not going to shoot? Then I'll continue with my work." She pulled the sheet away. He hurriedly tried to hold his ground on the bed, then aimed the gun at her head and shouted, "You really are insane. Get out right now." Calmly, she continued, "Yes, I'll leave when I'm finished. Could you stand up so I can finish quickly and go?" As soon as she said that, she suddenly yanked the sheet down, throwing him off balance and sending him falling backward. Casually, she picked up the tray and sat on the bed, saying, "I've prepared your meal." At this point, Vincent was extremely irritated. He pointed the gun straight at her head and demanded loudly, "Do you really want to die by my hand? Is that why you're being this insolent? Are you sure you can hit me when you can't see anything? Shooting is my specialty." Scooping up some porridge, she remarked admiringly, "Oh, really? Master, open your mouth. I'll feed you." He suddenly let out a mocking laugh, then knocked away the tray beside her right in front of her eyes. She sat there silently, thinking, for a spoonful of porridge like this, I have to get beaten and beg all day. That's right. No matter how hurt and weak he is, how could I pity him? He's the master of a grand mansion like this, someone blessed with everything. How dare I? So if I'm not clever enough, I won't be able to deal with him. After thinking that, she asked It seems I frighten you so much that you can't even take a spoonful of porridge. Is that it? Startled, he asked loudly, what are you doing? What are you doing? Before Vincent could even understand what was happening, Paula shoved him down onto the bed, knocking the gun from his hand. As she forced his mouth open with one hand, she screamed inwardly, die already. He thought, is she going to kill me? But the next instant, she stuffed a spoonful of porridge into his mouth. As he sat there, too shocked for words, she kept him pinned to the bed with all her strength and continued trying to feed him. Food should be cherished, she said. Then she grabbed his hair and added, weren't you taught that when you were little? The moment she finished speaking, he suddenly threw her onto the floor. You're fired. Right now. Paula let out a breath of relief and thought, well, at least I forced him to finish eating. Then she calmly said, I was only serving the master's meal as before. Huh, do you not even know what you've done? You really are crazy to the point of wanting to die. Did anyone see? It's only you and me here. So how could anyone else know what I did? Seeing him groping around for something, she smiled and asked, the gun is here, isn't it? You can use it to kill me. But, Master, are there even bullets in that gun? Paula's question startled Vincent so much that he unconsciously let the gun fall to the floor, lowered his head, and fell silent. Seeing that, she couldn't help thinking, just as I thought. Then, with a faint smile, she suggested, if you enjoy your next meal as much as you did today. Irritated, he cut her off. Didn't you hear me? You're fired. Call the butler right now. I'll do as you wish. But lately there have been so many bad rumors about you that finding someone to serve you is as hard as plucking stars from the sky. But don't worry, Master. Until a replacement is found, I will stay by your side from now on, and forever if no one else can be found. So please continue to rely on me, Master. While Vincent remained utterly dumbfounded, Paula leisurely thought to herself, sorry, but Master. This round I won after that knockout, just now. The score between Vincent and Paula was now 0-1, and she was obviously the winner. As she pinched his cheeks to force him to eat, she exclaimed loudly, Master, you really do eat well. Unable to speak, he could only let out an enraged MMM. The current score was 0-2. When the two of them were fighting over the sheet, the score had been 3-4, and when he angrily threw things at her, it had been 5-4. As she dragged Vincent along, Paula said through gritted teeth, you really have to bathe today. Frowning deeply, he shouted, let go. The moment she turned to look at him, the score between them suddenly shifted to 7-8. A little later, while she was teary-eyed and using a cloth to wipe the blood from her nose, someone suddenly called, Paula. Seeing Lady Isabella standing beside her, she was so startled that she thought, Gah, since when? And immediately afterward, Vincent's taunting words echoed in her mind. Do you not even know what you've done? You really are crazy to the point of wanting to die. Lady Isabella suddenly asked, Paula, do you know how many servants have come and gone here? Flustered, she replied, yes, I've heard. At first, because the situation was complicated, we were more careful than usual in choosing someone. But those who were selected all failed to care for the master properly, and now, because of the bad rumors, finding someone new is very difficult. That is also why Paula, despite having no experience, was hired. Hearing that, she couldn't help thinking in surprise. So the rumor I mentioned offhand was actually true? Isabella continued, we can't keep replacing people forever. It's time to change our approach. So long as it does not affect the master's health, I will entrust his care entirely to Paula. With that, Isabella immediately turned and left. Hearing that she would be allowed to stay on, Paula let out a relieved breath. Yes, I survived. The devil Vincent suddenly cried out in alarm, Isabella, and she vanished from Paula's thoughts. A little while later, holding a fresh bedsheet in her hands, she let out a long breath to steady herself. Then she quickly opened the door and stepped inside, but not before holding the sheet up in front of herself like a shield as she said, Master, don't think I'll be so easily defeated. Today, you really are going to bathe. When the room suddenly seemed strangely quiet, she grew a little suspicious. It feels like something's about to come flying at me. The instant she peeked through one eye, to her surprise, what she saw was Vincent writhing on the bed. She ran over at once and cried out, Master. Seeing that he was having trouble breathing, she immediately began rummaging through her pocket for something. It was definitely here. The moment she found it, she remembered what the doctor had said. If he can't breathe, put this into his mouth. She hurriedly reassured him, Master, slowly breathe. Then she gently placed the inhaler into his mouth. When she saw that he was no longer showing signs of breathlessness, she comforted him. It's all right now. You'll be fine. As he tried to push her away, he gasped out, Let go. Then he quickly lay back down on the bed and ordered, get out. She did not get angry, only sighed to herself. Is all he knows how to say get out and leave? She tried to persuade him. If you haven't even eaten, what were you doing that left you unable to breathe? I haven't brought the food yet, so just relax. The doctor already said that you have to eat properly and move around if you want to get better. You clearly don't want to die, so do what you can. Thinking that, she climbed down from the bed, went over to the broom, and started sweeping. While Paola was absorbed in cleaning, Vincent suddenly woke. Since he couldn't see, he closed his eyes and listened to the sound around him, then asked, "Why are you here?" Hearing that, she thought, this is the first time the master has spoken to me first. He frowned and asked again, "I asked why you're here." Paola hesitated a little before answering, well, because I need to earn money. And if I give you money, will you leave? So now forcefulness won't work and you're trying to tempt me? Why? Are you planning to pay me off so I'll go away? He replied, "If I can." She said, "Even if you drive me out, another servant will come. I'll drive them all out." She laughed in amusement. "Then others will just keep coming." In a rough voice, he asked, "You really don't intend to leave, do you? Where were you before you came here?" She answered, "I have a home in Fulton." Fulton? That's quite far away, isn't it? Not that far. You just have to cross one mountain. And above all, the road here is wonderfully new and beautiful. So I never got bored at all. It felt like I was in a lovely fairy tale adventure from a storybook. Hearing that, Vincent gave a mocking laugh. What dreamy words. Think again. This is not a place for dreaming foolish dreams. Just then, Paola started coughing because of the dust, so she fell quiet for a moment before explaining, "I know reality is different from fairy tales too, but I still dream a little." Isn't that what people call someone with romantic delusions? Do you always have to say such spiteful things? To me, fairy tales are beautiful dreams simply because I can read them. When I was little, I worked briefly in a bookstore. Thanks to the kindness of the owner, I was able to read. I still remember one passage from a book. God created man and blessed him. Simply by existing, they're a blessing. Love with all your heart, because all of it will become the path ahead of you. Vincent unconsciously murmured a title, The Sorrow of Love. Curious, Paola asked, "You've read it?" He answered indifferently, "It's a famous book. Even children read it." I didn't know that. Your taste is terrible. The Sorrow of Love is a tragedy. She thought to herself, the ending really was a tragedy. At the end of the story, the protagonist walks along the vast beach and says this, now it is over. Though he leaves everything behind, even the person he loves, the protagonist does not die. He simply casts off everything that troubled him and leaves alone. As she put the broom back in its place, Paola said, "I really like that. I've talked too much about myself. Is there any book you found interesting?" Vincent replied coldly, "I don't read that sort of thing." What do you mean that sort of thing? He continued, "After I lost my sight, feeling a little awkward, she asked, there are books for the blind, though." He explained coldly, "Not every book exists in a form I can read." "Then why don't you hire someone to read to you?" Annoyed, he demanded, "Are you telling me to go around revealing my condition to everyone?" She thought speechlessly, "You know perfectly well I didn't mean that. How am I supposed to satisfy this difficult master? Someone who knows his condition well and has enough time to read to him." After thinking that, she suddenly suggested, then let me read to you. Now then, master, listen carefully. I practically forced Vincent to agree. I thought that if he found listening to books enjoyable, he might be a little less irritable. He never thinks about how hard it is for a servant when he keeps shouting and throwing dangerous things everywhere, leaving me, an unmarried woman, with injuries on my face. The moment Paola had only just begun reading the first line, when the warmth in the stomach spreads through the body. One day, Vincent immediately criticized it. "Boring." Boring. Read something else. I've only read half a sentence. I don't like that sentence. Then I'll read another one. A girl's day begins with a walk in the garden." He abruptly demanded, "Boring. Something else. Another book." Paola had only just said the two words "a little boy" when Vincent immediately said, "Keep going." "Another book." She read softly, "A 6-year-old boy." He sneered again, "You really do have a talent for choosing nothing but terrible books." Irritated, she demanded, "Are you really going to be like this?" "I'm only telling the truth. You said it was boring without even listening properly. I don't need to listen properly to know it's boring. And what standard are you using to say that? Are you daring to argue with me now? A mere servant, no less." Hearing that, she thought resentfully, using your status to overpower people is so unfair. Then she sighed and said, "I'll bring some new books. If there's one you like, please let me know. I don't reread books I've already read." Then could you at least tell me what genre or kind of content you like? Nothing. Then what are you waiting for? Why haven't you gone to get the books yet? She suddenly giggled and remarked, he really is just a child. With that thought, she went to the library and began choosing books. That night, Paula lay on her bed, staring blankly as she thought, I really brought this trouble on myself. I'd better sleep early. Tomorrow I'll have to argue with him all day again. She had only just dozed off for a little while when she suddenly heard a noise coming from his room, which made her mutter in annoyance. But sensing that something was wrong, she flung open the door, ran out, and shouted, Master, Master, are you feeling unwell somewhere? Vincent irritably asked, Who is it? It's me. Did something happen? I just had a dream. Worried, she asked, A dream? What did you dream about? A frightening dream. Hearing that, she froze slightly. It was only a dream. Please go back to sleep. I'm afraid I'll dream it again, so I can't sleep. Then I'll stay beside you until you calm down. When she heard no answer, she thought, I thought he'd tell me to get lost. That dream must really have been terrifying. She plopped down on the floor to keep watch while he slept. For some reason, she raised her hand and suddenly imagined her little sister's hand raised in the same way, as if asking her to take it. And so she placed her hand over his. When we were little, my younger sister often had nightmares too. As the second child, whenever she had a bad dream, she'd cry for her big sister and wake me up. Every time, I would hold her hand and say this. A dream is only a dream, so there's no need to be afraid. I'm here with you. This moment here with your sister is what's real. Whatever happened in the dream, leave it in the dream, whether it's something that already happened or something you're afraid might happen. If you can't do anything about what has already happened, then all you can do is try to get past it. And as for what you fear might happen, then do your best to stop it from happening. After saying that, she thought, he'll probably just say it's all nonsense, won't he? Just like he said before, maybe I really am dreaming some foolish dream here, when even I don't have enough courage myself. On the second Wednesday, the child who always tossed and turned at night was sold away. And on the day she returned to him, Vincent saw Paula suddenly let go of his hand and immediately asked, How can that be? Then he hurriedly grabbed her hand again and continued, There's no going back now. No matter how hard I try, nothing can be changed. So how am I supposed to get over it? The master sat bolt upright and shouted angrily, How is anyone supposed to live in this hell? Seeing the wound on his forehead, she asked, Your forehead. Before she could finish, he suddenly reached out and yanked her hair hard, making her cry out in pain, Let go. In that instant, she remembered all the mockery and criticism people had thrown at her. How filthy. With a face like that, you still want to go outside? Ugly freak. So ugly. You absolutely have to cover your face when you go out. Just then Vincent roared, Look at me. Look at me. How am I supposed to live like this? Do you think you understand me? Do you think you understand the fear of not being able to see anything at all? She didn't answer. Instead, she silently reproached herself. That's right. He can't see me. A man who could see nothing was sinking into despair, and yet I felt relieved when I learned he had gone blind. He continued shouting, My life is already ruined. There isn't a single ray of light before me. She softly encouraged him, But if you try, keep trying. You can do it, my lord. If you keep trying, you'll succeed. I don't want to hear that anymore. In the end, they're just empty words. Because you're not blind like I am. That's why you can say such things so easily. Stop saying such ridiculous things. My eyes will never see the light again. So what exactly do you want me to try? If I can't see, what can I do? Then are you planning to die? To just wither away in loneliness like this? Is that really all right? Between life and death, what's wrong with choosing death? That's right. Slowly, she raised her hand, placed it against his chest, and continued. You have the right to choose. They say God only gives each person trials they can endure, but I don't believe that. When things are this hard, whether you go on enduring or not is your choice. I have no right to interfere with how you use that freedom. But before you die, at least tell me first. I don't want to suddenly find myself having to clean up your corpse. In return, until that moment comes, I'll stay by your side. I don't frighten you, do I? You can kill me whenever you want. Like I said before, even if I die, no one will come to avenge me, so you don't need to worry. But unlike me, you have many things, even people who would mourn you. So before you die, why not try using what you have? In despair, he insisted, It's useless. None of it matters. Paula confidently went on, They may only be small things. You can eat delicious food prepared by the chef. Bathe in warm water, tease your personal maid now, and then like you did today, and when the weather is nice, go outside and feel the breeze. And of course, if it all becomes too frightening, then you can run away again. After all, you still have somewhere to hide. You have money, power, servants who care about you, and this enormous mansion too. So what exactly are you afraid of? Somewhat flustered, he replied, all of those things are frightening. The money, the power, the concern, and this mansion too. Paula smiled faintly. Having them is still better than not. It seems you've misunderstood something. Life without those things is far more frightening. As she said this, she thought to herself, everyone lives in some kind of hell. Some because of poverty, some because they had terrible parents, some because of sudden accidents. So having a place to hide is a great blessing. For you, it's this room. For me, it's this mansion. She fell silent for a moment, then lightly touched his face and thought, have I ever stood this close to someone before? I was always afraid of facing other people's eyes, of the disgust in their gaze when they looked at me. But now, Paula smiled and said, don't lower your head. This is the truth. Be brave. As she said that, she thought again, while you regain your courage, I too will do my best in the place I ran to. Whether I live or die, it will be here, beside this blind master, in secret. After finishing first aid on his wound, she said, then I'll take my leave now. He hurriedly asked, leave? Go where? Back to my room. What? Sweating nervously, she asked back, pardon? You said you'd stay until I calmed down. Startled, she explained, but you seem to have calmed down already, my lord. Not all. Someone kept saying she'd stay by my side, so my heart is still trembling. I am frightened. Stay here until I fall asleep. Reluctantly, she sat down beside his bed, let out a long yawn, and answered, yes, all right. Knowing she would not leave, he immediately closed his eyes. The next morning, she yawned again, lowered her head tiredly, and thought, I ended up staying awake all night. Pull yourself together. Today I'm definitely going to read to master. A little later, she set a stack of books down with a thud. Vincent asked, books again? I'm serving you, aren't I? This time, I hope you'll listen carefully. She quickly picked out the book she liked best, then began to read aloud. Once upon a time, there was a little pig. The little pig was very happy each and every day. Feeling that something was slightly off, he asked, what are you reading? Pardon, my lord. It's a fairy tale. She answered cheerfully, yes, I think fairy tales suit you very well right now. For a sensitive and always irritable master like you, fairy tales will help bring peace to your heart. That is my judgment, as the person who stays closest to you. She was sweating inwardly with unease. Is something going to come flying at me again? It's been quiet for a while now. Helplessly, he let out a sigh. Fine, keep reading. Surprised, she asked again, yes. Are you deaf? I said keep reading. Ah, yes, yes. She continued, the little pig, once every day. He suddenly said, wait, slow down. I can't keep up. She continued reading, emphasizing the words, happy, every day. He interrupted again. Your pronunciation is unclear. Read it again, one word at a time, clearly, so the listener can picture and understand the story in their mind. Is that really the best you can do? She lamented inwardly. Is reading aloud really this hard? He frowned and demanded, read it again. Start from the previous part. She lowered her head, steadied herself for a few seconds, then resumed with a bright smile. And so, every day, the little pig, after a long while, the books on the table gradually dwindled as well. Eventually, only 5 books remained. The next day, as she poured water into the tub, she hesitated and thought, which book should I read to master today? Suddenly feeling that something looked strange about her reflection in the mirror, she raised a hand and brushed aside the bangs covering the birthmark on her face. To her utter surprise, the birthmarks she had had since birth were now gone. She stood there for a long moment, checking again and again to make sure. A little later, somewhere in the mansion hallway, Isabella suddenly called out, Paula, since you've adjusted quite well to the mansion, I'm giving you a new task. These are letters addressed to the master. Sort and organize them regularly. She reached out to receive them and replied, yes, I understand. She thought to herself, most of them are inquiries and invitations, I guess. HM, Violet? Only this letter has no family name. That's a woman's name. Isabella suddenly snatched the letter bearing the name Violet from her hand and instructed her, set aside any letters from this person. A new one arrives every 2 days. Curious, she asked, I don't need to give them to the master? That's right. Just keep them. Understood. Just as she opened another letter and began to read it, she couldn't help wondering, what is this? The contents read, are you well? Seeing this, Isabella sighed and said, that letter again. She glanced to the side, then quickly picked up a sheet of paper from the table and called out, Paula. She answered, ah, yes. I'm adding another task. Reply to that letter. Confused, she asked me. That's right. Just write a few brief lines. I'll leave it to you. After saying that, Isabella closed the door and left, leaving Paula so stunned that she cried out, What? Is this really okay? After pacing back and forth for a while, she stopped in front of the desk to calm herself, then quickly sat down, picked up a pen, and began to write. I am well. Her meeting with the sender of that mysterious letter would not be far off now. At this very moment, two people separated by distance were silently asking the same question. Are you well, Vincent? A few days later, I received a reply. The weather here is very nice. Paula wondered in confusion. The weather? Huh. Are these tears? Letters with gilded writing arrived without fail every single day. If no reply was sent, then an identical letter would arrive again the next day. The strangest thing was that there was nothing written inside the envelope at all. The gilded words were written only on the outside. Without even opening it, one could already know the contents. Isabella came over to her and said, There's no other choice. From now on, Paula will write the replies in my place. Keep them short, just like last time. Hearing those words, she was so shocked she could hardly believe it. This time I can't write with a light heart. She sat in the chair, lost in thought, then looked toward the window in surprise as if she had just realized something. After pondering for a moment, she returned to the desk, picked up the pen, and continued her work of replying to the letters. Here, buds are beginning to sprout everywhere, and today something a little unusual happened. Suddenly, a loud voice called out, Vincent! A man was standing outside, knocking on the door. Vincent, open up. She wondered, who is that? The man glanced at her. Oh, the new maid. She started when she realized. I looked straight at him without thinking. Offending a nobleman never leads to anything good. She lowered herself and said, It's a pleasure to meet you, my lord. I am Paula. The sound of his footsteps drew closer to her. Then he suddenly took her hand and lightly kissed it as he introduced himself. The pleasure is mine, maid. I am Ethan Christopher. She hurriedly replied, Ah, yes. Suddenly she wondered, wait, why is this man here? Until now, no outsider had ever come to the annex mansion. Standing before him, she asked, Excuse me, what is your relationship to the master? Suddenly, a voice called from inside the room, Paula, send him away. Master. Ethan said, Don't be like that, Vincent. You don't want to see me? Unconcerned, Vincent shouted, Didn't you hear me? Send him away at once. Oh dear, if he keeps getting this angry, he'll only reopen his wounds. I have to stop this. Thinking that, she fumbled around, trying to pull something out, when Isabella stepped forward and stopped her. The moment Ethan saw her, he greeted her warmly. Long time no see, Isabella. Sabella is as beautiful as ever, not changed in the slightest. She replied just as pleasantly, and Lord Ethan seems even more manly than before. After that, he sat down to have tea. When Paula brought it over for him, he said thank you. Then he spoke with Isabella. It's been a long time. Vincent's condition looks much worse. The last time I saw him, it hadn't gotten this bad. How long has he been shut up in that room? About half a year. Half a year. I see. Hearing their conversation, Paula thought I knew it. This man knows about the master's condition. He knows that he has lost his sight. Ethan added, Vincent and I are very close friends. You seem to be wondering. He laughed cheerfully. That's understandable. You're new here. She replied, Yes, you seem rather different from the people I've met before. All of a sudden, Ethan's expression went still. Anyway, I've been far too careless. No matter the reason, I never should have left Vincent alone. She comforted him. Lord Ethan has already done all he could, but Ethan still blamed himself. I chose my family over my friend. So to make amends, I have to see Vincent. If I leave like this, I'll lose sleep all night. And so, he decided to stay here for a few days. Vincent looked extremely displeased. When food was brought into the room, he frowned and said, I don't feel hungry anymore. Paula could only encourage him. Please eat a little more, my lord. No, I'm full, she thought. Being able to feed himself is already a huge improvement, but unfortunately he's still eating far too little. Would you like to meet Lord Christopher? He refused firmly. No, under no circumstances is he to enter this room. But he seems very worried about you. He snapped, unconcerned, absolutely not. I said, don't let him in, so don't let him in. Don't get involved with that nosy man. Stay away from him. Ethan was enjoying breakfast in a very cheerful mood. Good morning, maid. Have you come to eat breakfast? Frightened, she turned to leave. Forgive me, my lord. Usually no one uses the dining room, so it's fine. Sit down. Remembering Vincent's warning, don't talk to him. She wondered, am I imagining things? She refused. Ethan, it's nothing. Please enjoy your meal. Don't go. Are you really going to leave me here, all alone? Do you know how I'm supposed to react to that? Sitting here, eating by myself, is so lonely. Oh no, this won't do. If I have to eat alone like this, I can't swallow a thing. Vincent's words kept echoing in her ears. Don't get involved with him. In the end, she sat down at the table, cursing inwardly. This nosy man. He smiled in satisfaction. But at that moment, he had no idea how uncomfortable Paula felt inside, so much so that she couldn't swallow her piece of bread. Ethan asked, how is Vincent? He seemed very angry. I wouldn't exactly say he's angry, though it's true he's not very happy. But he threw things, didn't he? He does that often. Really? Then that's quite dangerous. She had no idea how to keep this conversation going. Seeing her eat with her head lowered, Ethan stared at her and said, hey maid, you know too, don't you? I mean Vincent's current condition. She thought, why is he asking me this? Is he testing me? Ethan continued, lately I've often heard rumors about this Count's household. Isabella said the master is so cruel that no servant can stand working for him. Those strange rumors have made it harder and harder to find people. Hearing that, Paula understood at once. Ah, so those are the rumors Isabella mentioned. They're not exactly wrong. Puffed. Ethan burst out laughing when he saw her reaction. It seems Vincent gives his maid a hard time. She quickly denied it. No, not at all. He treats me very kindly. But you said he often throws things. Did I say that? I misspoke. I am sorry. Ethan found her very interesting. Vincent really is stubborn, isn't he? Once he's made up his mind, no one can stop him. When she didn't reply, he added, and whenever someone disagrees with him, he gets visibly irritated, frowning, his face all tense. He'll stay quiet for a while, then suddenly make a scene all over again. Paula firmly refused to answer. She told herself, don't fall for it. It's a trap. A trap. Ethan casually went on. What do commoners call it again? Stubborn something. Bigoted. Right, that's it. Even so, he was still better back then. But for the past few months, he hasn't replied to my letters. I haven't been able to contact him, and I haven't been able to see him either. I got worried, so I hurried here. Now I understand. Vincent, will he really be all right? Please don't worry too much. Master is trying too. To suddenly have to live in darkness must be terrifying. But because you're not him, Lord Christopher, you cannot fully understand the master's pain. So all you can do is wait. Wait until the master overcomes it. Sometimes silence is the best choice. Hearing her words, he remarked, you're very straightforward for a maid. She answered in surprise. Yes, he went on. Should I call it cold or decisive? But I think you're gentler than you look. She wondered, is that praise or criticism? Still, I can't just sit and wait forever. There's something I still need to deliver. He walked up to her and asked, can you help me? No, she refused at once. I'm the most useless person here. Really? Then if I knock on the door about 100 times, will Vincent open it? I don't know. Honestly, it might be easier if the maid liked me. Can I say this in advance? I refuse. He suddenly burst into delighted laughter. Then outside the estate, a girl wondered aloud. It seems the Count's house is receiving a rather strange guest. I heard Lord Ethan has arrived, right? This was Renika. After I came to this estate, she was one of the few people I saw every day. Renika brought necessities from the main residence to the annex, or told me little bits of gossip about the estate. Paula asked, he sounds rather famous? Renika replied, that's right. He's the master's closest friend, the second young master of the Christopher family, and incredibly handsome too. He's also very kind to the servants. Everyone among us thinks he's a really good person. Is that so? Turning away, she added, Paula, you must be thrilled. I wish I could talk to him, just once too. Lord Ethan is in the drawing room of the annex right now. You can go see him anytime. Oh no, I can't. We're not allowed into the annex. Paula asked why not. Only designated servants are allowed into the annex, and they can only go to their assigned areas during fixed hours. If you go at the wrong time or enter the annex without permission, you'll lose your head on the spot. Paula flinched in shock. I had no idea about that. As she walked along the corridor, she thought, no wonder there was never anyone around. If security in the annex was this strict, then Ethan had to be someone very special. Ethan was still standing outside Vincent's room, knocking. Vincent opened the door. Seeing Ethan's figure slumped on the floor outside Vincent's door, she walked over and draped a shawl over him. Don't tell me you slept here? He turned and replied, Is it morning already? Yes. Why would you do that? I thought if someone kept knocking all night, Vincent would get angry and open the door. But I was wrong. Hearing that, she let out a weary sigh. Suddenly, she rummaged around for something, then held up a key and asked, "Would you like me to open the door?" Ethan looked surprised. "Yesterday, you said you couldn't. I'm only opening it to change the bedding, but you took advantage of that and barged in." He asked, "Will Vincent believe that? Even if he doesn't, he'll only hate me. He doesn't like me anyway." Emma, no, that's not it. It's just weighing on my mind. Let me try a little longer, if that's what you want. She turned and went into the room. "I have to change the bedding, so don't come in." He smiled and replied, "Yes, maid." Holding the key, she unlocked the door. The moment she stepped inside, she sensed something strange. How odd. What is that smell? Then a weak voice called out, "Paula." She hurried over to the bed. "Master." Then suddenly, right before her eyes, Vincent was lying on the floor. She shouted, "Master." Afterward, the doctor said it's indigestion. She stared in surprise. What? His stomach seems to have gone into shock from suddenly eating more than usual. He must have endured it all night. Vincent had only been eating that little lately. It was unimaginable. It wasn't spoiled food or starvation that caused this, but simply eating regular meals. How terribly frail. Before leaving, the doctor warned, his body has already become very weak. You need to be more careful. Yes, she answered. She went back into the room where Ethan was sitting by Vincent's bed, saying, "How did you get this thin? You're even thinner than the last time I saw you. Why aren't you taking care of yourself? If you go on like this, how am I supposed to face the late count?" Vincent said coldly, "Get out." "Vincent, stop this already. Come outside. I'll help you." "Help me with what?" "Anything. Whatever I can do, I'll do it all for you." "Then can you let me see my own face?" "You can't, can you?" "Then stop talking nonsense and get out." Ethan said angrily, "How long are you going to keep running away?" People outside are already whispering. They're saying Count Benlanita isn't recuperating from injuries after the party, but that something seriously wrong has happened to him, and you're hiding it. "You can't keep living like this forever." Vincent asked, "So what do you plan to do?" Ethan said, "It's time to reveal the truth." Vincent demanded furiously, "So you want me dead?" "If people find out that Count Benlanita is blind and can't see a thing, then next time my enemies won't just send assassins. They'll come holding knives themselves to kill me. The person who reduced you to this state probably already knows your condition." "Vincent, I mean it." He even threatened, "If you keep this up, I'll make your condition public." Hearing that, Paula was stunned, while Vincent shouted in anger, "Are you insane?" "Maybe I am." "Vincent, you're a precious friend to me, and I can't watch my friend go on like this. This isn't something you can hide forever, and we need to prepare for the future. You know that too, don't you? If you know it and still act like this, then you're just throwing a tantrum. I'll drag you out of here by any means necessary. And while I'm doing it, I won't care what you want." Vincent said, "Stop talking nonsense. You'll find out soon enough whether what I'm saying is nonsense." Ethan rose to his feet. "Choose." Vincent was in agony, yet he said coldly, "Either convince me or don't." At that moment, Paula was wiping the windows when someone called, "Maid." "Ow, is Vincent?" She thought to herself, "He's not well, but I can't just leave the drawing room unattended." Then she replied, "If you're so curious, why not visit him yourself? If the maid would just tell me, I'd be very grateful." She recalled Ethan's earlier words. "If you want to stop me from making it public, then show me your effort. Reassure me that it's all right to leave things as they are. You're stubborn, but I'm not patient. I'll give you 2 days. I'll come back at this time." Paula said, "If you're so worried, then don't threaten him. You see it as a threat?" She answered at once, "If you force someone to do something they don't want to do, then that's no different from a threat." "That's right. It is a threat." She cursed inwardly, what a bastard. But hearing her thoughts, he admitted, "That's right. I am a bastard. I can't keep standing by and watching Vincent replace Count Benlanita like this forever. We're not just friends. We're also bound by our family's interests. So I hope you'll comfort Vincent and persuade him to come outside." She sighed helplessly. "Like I said, I'm not capable of that." "Really? I think you're very capable. You flatter me. I'll be on my way now." Ethan kept following behind her. Wherever she went, he went too. She entered a room, and he followed her right in. She grew irritated inside. Why does he keep following me around? Does he have nothing better to do? Entering the room, he asked, "What are you doing here?" "I'm choosing a book." "You want to read?" "No, I'm going to read to the master." He was utterly stunned. Read to Vincent? He actually sits still and listens to you. At first he refused, but lately he's been listening very attentively. I used to read fairy tales, but this time I'm going to choose a thicker book. She searched the shelves carefully. When he suddenly fell silent, Paula turned to look at him suspiciously, only to see Ethan pressing his lips together, trying not to laugh. At last, he couldn't hold it in anymore and burst out laughing. With that much pride? Reading fairy tales? Ha! He clutched his stomach, unable to stop. Inside the room, Vincent thought, where is that irritating noise coming from? Ethan kept trailing after her. How lucky Vincent is to have someone like you by his side. Vincent likes adventure novels more than fairy tales. She hurriedly moved away. Then I'll go see the master. Wait, hold on. Shall we make a bet? A bet. Do you think Vincent can leave his room? She thought to herself, how could I possibly understand the master's heart that deeply? Don't give me such stock answers. If you can make Vincent step outside his room, even just one step, I'll grant you one wish. What? Lord Christopher, why do you keep saying these things to me? He grabbed her by the arm. I hope you can do it for Vincent's sake. Why are you doing this to me? Because you seem the easiest person to ask here. What? This bastard. Don't refuse. I want to be a good person in your eyes. Oh, and if it's a bet, then we have to assume I'll win too, right? If I win. He pulled her closer, then kissed the back of her hand. You'll have to offer up your neck. She stared at him in shock. What? What do you mean? Why me? I'm just a maid who came here to serve the master. Then, in Vincent's room, he was feeling utterly miserable. Paula tried to reassure him. Please try, master. There must be a way. Don't say ridiculous things. How is that ridiculous? You just need to show that you're trying. How am I supposed to show that? Even if I try, if the other side refuses to accept it, then it means nothing. I'm only reluctant because I don't want to talk about my condition. She thought of Ethan's words. That's not effort, Vincent. I'll announce your condition to the whole world. Then it really will happen. What should I do? Effort. Showing effort. If you can make Vincent step outside his room, even just one step, I'll grant you one wish. Vincent, stop this. Come outside. What is Ethan Christopher really after? There, that's it. Lord Ethan had already given me the answer. She made up her mind. What Lord Ethan wanted was actually very simple. All he wanted was for the master to go outside again like before, without anyone's help and without fear. Vincent turned his face away. I can't do it. Paula said firmly, you can. I'll always stay by your side. There are only 2 days. During that time, all you have to do is practice hard. I can't. Day 1. She helped him to his feet. Slowly, like a baby taking its first steps. I understand, so be quiet. She held his trembling hand. Paula thought he looked unbearably pitiful. Day 2. You're doing very well, master. He sat down and sighed. I don't want to. I can't do it. If you don't hold my hand, I won't be able to walk. Don't let go. Paula looked at him thoughtfully, then released his hand. It's all right. You practiced a lot already. At last, both of them stood up again. She ran behind him and said, come on, you just need to walk like that. Vincent tried to do as she said. His feet trembled with every step. He moved toward her slowly, but suddenly his foot twisted, throwing him off balance. Paula rushed toward him in alarm. Vincent looked terrified. His whole body seemed about to fall, and she hurriedly caught him. As soon as she reached out, he seized her hand. Carried forward by momentum, he lunged and wrapped her tightly in his arms, and the two of them fell with Vincent on top of Paula. She praised him. You did really well. You truly did. That was terrifying. Adventures are always terrifying. Even so, if we're not brave, we'll remain stuck in the same place forever. If you feel afraid in the future, remember this story. Even in the deepest darkness, there will still be a voice meant only for you. That voice could be an adventuring companion, a friend, or family. It could be anything. It just has no clear shape, but you are not alone. Vincent thought, is that voice you? On the final day of the bet, she carefully trimmed his hair. All done. Vincent asked in confusion, is all this really necessary? You look clean and quite presentable now. She thought to herself, that face is worth dressing up. Vincent got to his feet and said, bring me my clothes. If you mean your night robe, it's right here. She froze when she heard his request. My outdoor clothes. She hurriedly searched around. Shoes, where are the shoes? Then Paula properly dressed Vincent. He fastened the buttons himself. Once he was dressed, he looked completely different. Then Paula stepped out of the room. Ethan stood outside with his arms folded and asked, what about Vincent? She answered, he's waiting inside. Has he practiced a lot? Paula glanced at Ethan, thinking, so you knew all along. The weather is lovely. It should be nice outside. The branches have started to bud, haven't they? She asked in surprise. What? Ethan walked toward the door. When the door was pulled open, Ethan saw Vincent standing inside, facing the window. He called out, "Vincent!" Vincent shifted his footing. Then he turned around with a cane in hand. Vincent walked toward Ethan on his own 2 feet. Ethan called out in shock, "Vincent!" A fierce look showed on Vincent's face as he gripped the cane. Then, without hesitation, swung it over Ethan's head. Fortunately, Ethan dodged in time. Watching from outside, Paula was terrified. Vincent warned, "If you dare threaten me one more time, you'll die. I'm your friend, so that's why you threatened me. Get out." With that, Vincent turned and went back inside. When the door shut, Ethan could no longer hold it in and burst out laughing. Yes, that's more like it. That's the Vincent I know. Seeing Ethan's cheerful reaction, Paula thought, is he crazy? He almost got killed just now. Then, unexpectedly, he ran into the room after him. "Ah, Vincent, I'm coming in. Don't look at me like that. I brought you something. It's a letter from Violet. I heard you haven't even written back to her, so she wanted to come here herself. But I told her to wait, so this time write her back. Because if you don't, the next person forcing their way in here will be Violet, not me." Hearing that, Paula thought, Violet is the one who keeps sending letters to Master. Does she know Lord Ethan? "Paula, please bring me a pen and some paper." His voice snapped her out her thoughts. "Yes, Master. Now that I think about it, it feels like I forgot something." She remembered the time Lady Isabella had handed her a stack of letters. "These are letters sent to Lord Vincent. Please sort them regularly." At that moment, she cried inwardly, "I completely forgot." That night at the estate, Paula lay slumped over the table in exhaustion. "I'm almost done. I was so focused on helping the master practice walking that I completely forgot about this." The letters seemed to cry out, "You forgot about us." Luckily, there were no urgent ones. During the whole time Lord Ethan stayed here, not a single letter written in gold ink was sent. Thinking of his words, "The branches have started to bud, haven't they?" Oh no, it must have just been a coincidence. There was no reason for Lord Ethan to hide his identity to send letters, and the idea of him crying while writing them was even more unimaginable. That's right, it can't be Lord Ethan. Suddenly, Ethan's voice came from behind her. "What about me?" Startled, she yelped, "Lord Christopher, why are you here at this hour?" "I couldn't sleep, so I came out for a walk. But it sounded like you were talking about me." "No, not at all. You must have heard wrong. Even if you were speaking ill of me, I'd understand. I told you already, I'm a bad person." She explained it's not like that. I was only out to get some air." He draped his coat over her shoulders. "You can borrow this." She replied, "Thank you." Truly, Lord Christopher was a bad man. No, a bad person, but also a very gentle one. He asked me, "You willingly chose to become the bad person for the Master's sake. Even if I can't approve of the way you did it, I understand. The Master will understand too." What Lord Christopher meant was, "I hope so. Can Vincent really change the way I want him to?" "Yes." "You sound certain." "Of course I'm certain. But if he moves forward, will I be left behind? I'm only someone hired to care for him in his current state. Once he overcomes it and moves forward, I won't have any value left." "But will that really be all right?" he asked. "Have you thought about your wish yet?" "My wish? If you could make Vincent step out of his room, even just one step, I said I'd grant you one wish." She suddenly remembered. Did you forget? Go on. I'm quite capable, you know." She hesitated and thought a wish. "Even if I no longer have any value, will you still be all right? My wish is for you to work with me." He asked in surprise, "Work together?" "What I mean is, we can help each other. Are you really okay with that? It seems like there could be a better wish." "No, that's enough. I want to stay here longer, so please take good care of me." "Why?" Ethan's question made her pause. "Because I have nowhere to return to." Hearing that, Ethan's mood visibly darkened. He lowered his head and stayed silent for a moment. Then he reached out and shook Paula's hand. A relationship where they supported each other. Not bad at all. The next day, Ethan left with his suitcase, and Paula also carried a suitcase out to see him off. Ethan took it and said his farewell. "Take care. Sorry for troubling you." "It's nothing. Serving you is my honor." Ethan tugged the brim of his hat down slightly and answered her with a smile. Just as he got into the car, Paula suddenly asked, "By the way, Lord Christopher, do you often send letters to my master?" "Letters? Let me think. There was a time when I wrote quite often." "Oh, then, do you write them in golden ink?" "I'm just checking. You never know." Ethan was silent for a long moment before saying, "No, I write in black ink." She replied, "I see." Then Paula and Isabella bowed to Ethan. As the car gradually disappeared from sight, she and Isabella turned back toward the mansion when she suddenly noticed someone. It was Vincent standing by the window, but but he quickly pulled the curtain shut. Not long after, another letter written in golden ink arrived. What nice scent. Is it tea leaves? Paula brought the tea box to ask Isabella's opinion. She said it could be given to the master. After getting permission, Paula quickly went to brew him a cup. The moment Vincent picked up the teacup, he recognized it. This is black tea sold in Nuven. Hearing that, she was so startled she got goosebumps. How did you know? Vincent replied blandly. It's what I usually drink. Where did you get it? It was a gift. I see. Paula noticed his satisfaction. It seemed her master was in a good mood. Next time he gets angry, I'll bring this out. I definitely have to send a thank you letter. Sometime later, many eye-catching boxes and bags of tea were delivered. She froze like a statue when she saw them along with the letter. If you need more, just let me know. She turned pale and held her head. I only asked because my master seemed to like it. I just want to know where I could buy more tea leaves. Paula wrote back, thank you so much. How am I supposed to respond to this? The reply came quickly with a suggestion. The weather has been lovely lately. Perhaps we should have tea in the garden. That feeling of indebtedness left her exhausted, clutching her head. This isn't even a reply to my gratitude. Who is this person, and why do they keep sending letters? It's not from my master. Was it really okay for me to send that letter? The broken window had been temporarily boarded up, but by the afternoon the glass had already been repaired and replaced. The hallway window is fixed now. Next time, just punch with a bare fist. What a waste. How many things has the master smashed already? Vincent sat on the bed while she helped him dress, and he calmly said, don't worry about unnecessary things. Also, next time Ethan comes, don't let him in here. Just send someone else to deal with him. Paula asked in confusion, huh? Why? Does master still dislike Lord Christopher coming here? He immediately turned his face away. I don't like it. I thought the two of you had made up. But then he suddenly said, I don't hate Ethan. Really? I hate that family. You're talking about the Christopher family? Is there a reason? It's nothing important. Under the blanket, his expression darkened. That family is what made me like this. Those words struck Paula like a bolt from the blue. Huh? Vincent said coldly, leave. Wait, master, what you just said. Does Lord Christopher know about this too? Curled up under the blanket, Vincent said, Ethan doesn't know. Or rather, he doesn't know yet. He can only guess, but he can't be sure. That's why he wants to ask directly. But Ethan can ask. In the end. Why not? Because my condition isn't good, and Paula, there are times when a secret needs to remain a secret. So now really go outside. She hurried out and leaned against the door. Clenching both hands, Paula thought this is scary. But she remembered what Isabella had warned her before. Remember this well, Paula. Here, pretend you saw nothing and heard nothing, no matter what it is. Don't reveal anything. A secret must remain a secret. She slowly sat down and hugged her knees. From that day on, my master and I never once brought up that conversation again. She continued serving Vincent as if she had heard nothing at all. Early that morning, Paula went to his bedside to wake him. Master, please wake up. He had clearly heard her calling him and even felt her gently shaking him. But Vincent stayed curled up in the blanket without answering. Slightly annoyed, she tried to yank the blanket away. You need to eat. Vincent refused to give in and clutched the blanket tightly. Get out. After struggling for a while, she finally managed to pull the blanket off him. You've been sweating all night, so you should at least wash your face first. He said sluggishly, please go away. But after a while, she still managed to drag him out of bed and push him along. Standing before the basin of warm water, Vincent gently rubbed his hair. I'll take care of it myself. Go outside. She asked, really? He didn't answer and slowly took off his shirt. She stood there watching and thought to herself, at last, all my efforts in caring for him are paying off. He's gained quite a bit of weight and most of his wounds have healed. Lost in thought, she didn't notice he had already removed his shirt until Vincent's hand reached the back of his trousers and he paused. In a dark voice, he growled, aren't you going out? Paula quickly ran off, shut the door, and pressed her ear against it to listen for sounds inside. Is he really bathing? And today, too. Why is my master being so obedient today? After that, Vincent started eating breakfast. When he finished, he calmly said, I'm done eating. Paula and the maids in the kitchen were all astonished. Lately, the master had been eating very well, so much so that it made the cook cry. Truly a blessing. Isabella was also very pleased about it. The master's condition seems to have improved a lot recently. Keep taking care of him the way you have been. Outside the mansion, Paula stood among the flower beds and thought, Master was well behaved today too. That makes me less busy. The weather is lovely as well. So lovely it's almost a shame. She suddenly remembered that letter mentioning, since the weather has been so nice lately, why don't we try having afternoon tea outside? An idea struck her. Paula immediately ran over and suggested it to him. So, how about having afternoon tea in the garden today? In contrast to her excitement, Vincent dismissed it. What nonsense are you talking about? It's good to get some fresh air once in a while. After a moment, he said, just make sure no one sees us. I prepared a place where no one passes by. How am I supposed to get there? Paula immediately patted her chest confidently. Leave it to me. I'll support you there. She sounded confident, but helping him outside was not easy at all. Her legs had started trembling after supporting him for such a long distance. Both of them were exhausted, as though they might collapse halfway there. All right, I'll support you carefully. He complained, you can't even take proper care of me. My feet are practically dragging. We're going back to the room right now. As soon as he finished speaking, Paula helped him into a chair. Then she herself nearly collapsed from exhaustion. We're here. He asked, where is this? The garden behind the annex. No one comes by here, so the table was left abandoned. I cleaned it up. He said nothing and simply sat in silence, feeling the gentle breeze. A familiar scene suddenly washed over him. Recalling this sight, the corners of his lips unconsciously lifted. Standing beside him, Paula was delighted to see his faint smile. She set the teacup on the table. If it's afternoon tea, then of course there has to be tea. Vincent took a sip and praised it. This is good. It's the black tea from Nuven that you like. I know. The aftertaste is a little different. Today I'll read a book to you. Some silly book again, I suppose. No, it's the adventure novel Creed. The moment she said the title, she suddenly faltered. No, it's because I heard you liked it. The two sat together in the picturesque setting, and the adventure began. Vincent sat there listening to the story, his gaze distant, as if he were thinking about something. He suddenly interrupted. What do you look like? Paula froze when he asked so suddenly. Sitting across from her, Vincent rested his chin on one hand and looked straight at her. His eyes were deep, as though they could see through everything. When she noticed that look, Paula instinctively shrank back and didn't dare raise her head. Why are you curious about that? Just curious. I wonder what your shameless face looks like. Though her thoughts were in turmoil, she still tried to change the subject. Let me keep reading the book. As soon as she finished speaking, Vincent suddenly reached out and lightly touched her forehead. The action startled her so badly that she sprang to her feet, knocking both the chair and the book to the ground. The air between them gradually grew oppressively still. Paula's voice trembled as she tried to speak. Just now, you suddenly tried to touch my face. Sorry. Vincent asked, why are you so flustered? I said I wanted to know what your face looks like. But why do you have to touch my face? I can't see, so I have to touch it to know. He asked again, what do you look like? I look very ordinary. What do you mean specifically? The more you keep hiding it, the more curious I get. Well, I'm a little short. I already know that. What else? She continued describing herself. My hair is rather long. He asked curiously, past your chest? No, not past it. I cut it a little shorter recently. Vincent kept asking, so he could picture her more easily. Is it slightly wavy or straight? Some people have sleek straight hair, while others have a little curl. It's a little wavy. Vincent rested his chin on his hand and listened, then suddenly reached out. His fingers lightly touched her cheek, then brushed the ends of her slightly curled hair. In a soft voice, he said, it really is. Your hair does have a slight wave. What else? Paula felt shy because of what he had done. What else? What exactly are you curious about? Everything. Tell me in detail. Give me the pieces so I can imagine it. Sitting across from him, she unconsciously clenched both hands. Me, compared to other girls my age, I'm shorter and smaller, with dark brown hair, dry and lifeless, ugly skin swollen from being beaten by my father, sharp upturned eyes, a small ugly nose covered in freckles. Ugly little dwarf. That was the nickname the other children used for me. Unlike me, my third younger sister, Alicia, had been a beauty since childhood. Even I thought she was beautiful. Everyone adored her. Even her unpleasant personality seemed charming in their eyes. And because of that, they despised me. Alicia, the daughter, even my devil of a father doted on. One day, Alicia would pay for that beauty of hers, that beautiful little sister, and I, the ugly one, to the very end. At that point, she said, that's what I look like. She thought to herself, maybe he will look down on me too. Because I'm ugly, he won't want to keep me by his side either. Only then did Vincent speak. How interesting. You must be a beauty, even if I can't quite picture it. She immediately gave a smile, as if mocking herself. That reaction is only natural. What I just described was Alicia's beauty, not mine. I hear those words often too. Even as she said that, she still didn't want to be hurt. With an empty look in his eyes, he said, "A moment ago you said you looked ordinary." That was just politeness. Paula didn't answer him, and instead sank into a swirl of negative thoughts. A small lie like this should be fine. If even just one person in my life remembers me with that kind of beauty, that's enough. He lifted his teacup and smiled. "You're very clever. It sounds like you'd be easy to find." She had been holding her head the whole time. "Really? Are you sure? Because I look nothing like the image in your head right now." He said softly, "That's right. Just say, bring me the smallest one." His words seemed to pull her right out of her lie. "I'm not that small." He replied casually, "You are. That's only because Master is tall, small enough to be used as a drumstick." I said, "I'm not small." His calm face tilted upward slightly, and at that moment he gave a gentle smile. Paula froze when she saw it. So he could smile like that too. Because she had been talking so much, she didn't notice the pages of the book turning in the light breeze. She pursed her lips shyly. "You're really too much. If you feel cold, please tell me." The breeze was still a little chilly, though it hardly seemed to affect him at all. "This much is fine. I want to take a walk." Paula gaped in surprise. "You want to take a walk?" She went to his side and supported his arm. "Come on, let's go for a walk." Outside the garden, there were only a few flowering plants and little tufts of grass by the path. The farther in they went, the more large trees appeared. Paula held his hand and guided him along in the shade. "The weather is so nice. If you don't mind, it would be nice to come outside like this once in a while." He replied, "No. Why not? If I run into someone, it'll be troublesome. This place is deserted, but if anyone comes, I'll tell you right away. No one will come. It's quiet here. When we were young, Ethan, Violet, and I used to come here often." That name made her pause. "I've always wondered, who exactly is this Violet?" For a moment, he didn't know how to answer. Vincent stepped closer. "Violet is my fiancée." "Fiancée?" She blurted out in shock. Actually, at his age, it would be stranger if he didn't have a fiancée. Lost in thought, she didn't notice him covering one ear because her shout had been too loud. They must love each other, right? So she sends letters because she loves him very much. Without thinking, she said, "She must love you a lot." Hearing that, he denied it at once. "I don't know what you're imagining, but it's not like that." She was a little confused. "It's not?" "No. If she comes here, tell her to go back." "That fiancé of his? How did it come to this?" "She doesn't know I've gone blind." His words made the atmosphere sink. If she found out her fiancé had gone blind, she'd probably demand the engagement be broken immediately. "We're not in love. We became engaged for the sake of our family's interests. If the engagement is broken, the losses will be great. I can't hide it forever, but if possible, I want to delay that moment. Aristocratic life really is complicated. I'll remember that. And there's no need to do this either." "Yes. What do you mean?" "I mean you don't need to comfort me. About what I told you last time, that family made me this way." "That's not it," she thought to herself, and now he's pretending not to know again. "Let's keep going." "Yes, Master." The scarf around her neck suddenly slipped off. Caught by the wind, the scarf flew away. She didn't have time to react. "Master, wait a moment." With that, she hurried after the scarf, leaving Vincent standing there calling her name. "Paula." Her figure gradually disappeared deeper into the garden. Paula kept chasing after the scarf, trying to catch it. Just when she was about to grab it, the wind blew even harder. Breathing heavily, she watched the scarf sway on a tree branch. It finally stopped. As she slowly walked toward it, a hand reached out from behind the tree trunk and took the scarf down. Paula was stunned to see someone else take it first. A young man slowly stepped out from behind the tree. He had a gentle, warm appearance, as though a warm breeze had just passed by. He handed her the scarf, but said something strange. "I'm so glad." She couldn't make sense of it in time and only answered, "Huh? How strange." This was clearly their first meeting, yet those gentle eyes felt somehow familiar. But she quickly realized that he had seen her face. The wind had blown her hair away. Memories of being mocked, driven off, and beaten came rushing back. "I am sorry, sir. What's wrong?" "Because I look like this. Because I look so ugly. Someone once said that having a face like mine was a sin, even though I never chose to be born this way. But that boy didn't mock her. Instead, he said she was beautiful, as if a warm ray of sunlight had shone into all her negative thoughts." Paula slowly lowered her hand, and the figure of the young man standing before her gradually came into view. He was still standing there, a gentle smile on his lips, and he slowly walked over and handed her a handkerchief. He had clearly seen her face. This is the first time anyone has ever said that to me. Hearing the rustling sound of someone approaching, Paula suddenly came to her senses and flusteredly said, sorry, I have to go now. She quickly took the handkerchief from him. Thank you. The moment she took it, Paula hurriedly ran off. After running a few steps, she noticed a piece of paper tucked inside the handkerchief. On it were the words, "I won't go far away." The moment she saw the kind of golden ink, she immediately turned back to look, but when she did, no one was there. It was as if the young man she had just met had never appeared there at all. She stood frozen for a moment, then returned to Vincent. When she saw him, she softly said, "Master, I'm sorry I'm late, but over there was someone." Vincent immediately rushed over and grabbed her tightly by the shoulders, saying in a strained voice, "Don't do that, Master." He kept repeating those words, "Don't do that." His face showed worry mixed with panic, and he shouted hoarsely, "Stop it." Vincent reached out and stroked her cheek. As if he had found something to lean on, he wearily buried his face against her shoulder. He still held tightly to her wrist and wouldn't let go. "Don't leave me alone. I am sorry, your hand. It's so hot. I'm really sorry. Master." Just like that, the two of them rested their faces against each other's shoulders. Each of them was lost in their own thoughts. It had already grown dark, and Vincent said, "Let's go back. I'm tired." When Isabella saw the two of them return, she immediately ran out. "Master, Miss Isabella, what is it?" She looked hesitantly to the side. Then a young woman's voice rang out. "Vincent." Nearby, Ethan stood helplessly beside a noble lady. She had pale blonde hair and violet eyes. Those eyes were already brimming with tears, and the atmosphere fell silent when Ethan and that girl appeared. While Paolo was still bewildered, Vincent, standing behind her, had already clenched his hand tight, his voice hesitant as if he wanted to avoid her. "Violet." She had heard him mention a girl named Violet before. She suddenly turned to look at him. "Is that Master's fiancée?" Ethan also looked awkward. He could only force a stiff smile. The moment Violet saw him, her eyes welled up at once. "I really missed you so much." Violet calmed down first. Paula, standing beside him, called softly when she felt his body trembling. "Master." Even without seeing anything, he still wanted to avoid her. He was so anxious that even his body was shaking. It was obvious because she was holding his hand. Paula could only stay silent. She lowered her head slightly, as if hesitating over what to do next. In that heavy silence, her voice suddenly rang out. "Let's run, Master. Forget everything else." Paula tightened her grip on his hand and pulled him away. The other three couldn't even process what had happened. They all cried out at once, "Huh? What?" All three could only stare blankly as a small maid pulled Vincent away from there. A little while later, we all gathered again without Master there. Violet sat gracefully holding a teacup. Every gesture and movement of hers radiated gentleness and softness. Paula could only blush and stare open-mouthed, inwardly gasping in amazement at her delicate manner. She looked like someone sculpted out of sugar, as if one bite would taste sweet. Holding a plate of cookies, Paula unconsciously blurted out a compliment. "She's so beautiful." Hearing what she said, Violet replied, "Thank you." Realizing how careless she had been, Paula jumped in alarm. Flustered, she hurried over to set down the plate. Sorry, you seem to be new here, so this is our first meeting. I'm Paola. Please forgive my rudeness in the hall." "No, it's all right. I was a bit too hasty. I just wanted to see Vincent as soon as possible. I am Violet Margaret. Just call me Violet." Ethan has told me a lot about Paola. Just as he said, "You're very kind." Violet was like an adorable goddess. Paola was instantly struck by Violet's goddess-like charm and shyly thought, "She's beautiful and such a good person too." "Paola, come sit down too." Because of the difference in status, she awkwardly declined. "It's all right, I'll stand." Ethan quickly chimed in teasingly, "Then sit next to me." She immediately felt a chill at his teasing words. Only then did Isabella speak up. "All right, stop refusing." Hearing that, Ethan smiled triumphantly. With no other choice, she could only sit beside him. Resting one arm on the chair, Ethan said to her, "It's nice to see you again." "Paola mater del plesli." "Not really." Violet moved on to the main issue. "Isabella, how has Vincent been lately?" "No one has told me anything." Isabella only briefly explained his current condition. "Fortunately, he's gotten much better." "Oh, no wonder. Seeing him earlier made me feel much more relieved." Ethan whispered to Paola. "Violet thinks Vincent is recovering from injuries." Paola immediately understood. "Ah, I see. By the way, what is Lord Christopher's relationship with that person?" Just friends. The three of us, including Vincent, have known each other since we were children. Violet continued speaking with Isabella. May I see Vincent? I'm sorry, Miss Violet, but Master does not wish for his fiancée. For Miss Violet to see him in such a difficult state. I understand. I know very well, but she didn't continue. She lowered her head, the corners of her eyes reddening slightly, unable to voice what she truly wanted. Violet suddenly stood up and rushed over to grab Paula's hands. Paula, I sincerely beg you, please pass my words on to Vincent. I want to see him. I really want to see him. Tell him that no matter what he is like, I don't mind at all. I just want to see him. Paula looked around in confusion, searching for help, her voice turning stammering. What? Huh? Igriegagis. Isabella calmly sipped her tea, while Ethan, sitting beside her, took a bite of cake. But even in his eyes there was concern for Paula. In the end, Paula had no choice but to give in. Why are you saying this to me? After that, she stood nervously in front of Vincent's door. Master. The door slowly opened, gradually revealing the room inside. Miss Violet asked me to pass along a message. I'll repeat it exactly as she said it. I want to see you. I really want to see you. No matter what you're like, I don't mind at all. I just want to see your face. That's all. Ethan suddenly poked his head in and called out. Hey, before he could finish, a pillow flew straight into his face. Vincent sat up and growled. Get out. Hey, don't be mad. I didn't have any choice either. Vincent was still furious. I thought if you'd just replied to her letters, she wouldn't come. I thought so too, but then Violet suddenly ran out, insisting on seeing you. You know what she's like. The nursemaid and I both tried to stop her, but it was no use. He remembered that day. Violet had suddenly rushed out despite his and the nursemaid's attempt to stop her, but she only cried and shouted louder. You know what she's like. Once she gets stubborn, she has to see it through no matter what. While Ethan was talking, Vincent had already grabbed the nearby glass of water. Ethan immediately ducked behind Paula to hide. Oh my little maid, what you did in the hall earlier was amazing. The way you grabbed Vincent's hand and ran off with him was so moving. That made her blush. Stop talking. What? You did really well. Dear maid, Paula's face darkened. Please stop talking. But in Vincent's imagination, Ethan was pinning her to the wall and lifting her chin. Don't be shy. Ethan didn't notice Vincent's irritation at all and kept teasing. I almost fell for you just now, you know. Vincent suddenly set the glass down on the table. The loud sound made both of them freeze. Vincent ground his teeth. That's enough joking around. Aren't you going a bit too far? The room immediately fell silent. Paula awkwardly changed the subject. Anyway, it's already late today, so Lady Violet said she'll wait in the garden tomorrow morning. I'm not going out. Just tell her to go back. Ethan said, it doesn't seem like she plans to leave so easily. It looks like she prepared herself very thoroughly before coming. Go outside first. As soon as he finished speaking, Paula pushed him out, leaving Vincent alone in the room. Once outside, she let out a weary sigh. What are we supposed to do now? Ethan said, first, let's try persuading Violet. They say she prepared herself very thoroughly before coming. Yeah, that's true. But, seeing him hesitate, Paula cried inwardly. So in the end, there's still no solution at all. Ethan could only laugh awkwardly. The next day, the two of them went to the garden and saw Violet sitting there. They called out to her. Violet happily turned around, but only saw Paula and Ethan. She immediately asked, where's Vincent? He said he doesn't want to meet anyone. I see. Paula stepped forward. I am Trudisore. I tried to persuade him many times, but it's all right. I'm the one being stubborn. That bouquet, I was planning to make a bouquet for Vincent, but it turned out awful, didn't it? I'm clumsy, so I couldn't make it look nice. Vincent probably wouldn't be happy receiving something like this either. Seeing how downcast Violet looked, Paula cried inwardly, this mood is awful. Then she resolutely said, I'll help you. A little while later, Paula had tied together a vivid, colorful bouquet. Violet exclaimed in admiration, oh my, it's so beautiful. How did you make it look this pretty? You're praising me too much. In truth, Paula often arranged flowers to sell for extra money. That's so admirable. I'm so clumsy that even my tutor gave up on me. Ethan chimed in agreement. That's true. She's never been good at things like this. Violet immediately punched Ethan hard in the side. I'm such a poor fiancé to Vincent. Maybe that's why he doesn't want to see me, because I'm not reliable enough. Suddenly, Violet tore apart the bouquet Paula had just finished. Whether it was out of anger, by accident, or on purpose out of spite, it was terrible either way. Paula could only stare blankly in shock. Ethan reminded her, Violet, it's not just the two of us here. I just showed such an embarrassing side of myself. What should I do? The bouquet is ruined. I'm so sorry. Could you make it again for me? Paola replied, a un quadri. Of course. But by the way, Paola, how old are you? I'm 18. Then you're the same age as me. I'm so happy to have a friend my age by my side like this. Hearing that, Paola's face flushed red. A little while later, Paola finished another bouquet to the admiring expressions of Ethan and Violet. Suddenly, Violet suggested, Paola, could you deliver this bouquet for me? Vincent agreed, all right. She thought the bouquet was rather large, and if it wasn't handled carefully, it might get ruined. Unexpectedly, Violet untied Paola's hair ribbon. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have brought a ribbon. It's all right, but aren't you going to deliver that one? This one? I want to give it to Paola. Just a small thank you gift for helping me make this bouquet. Paola was inwardly surprised. For me? This is so embarrassing. Hurry and take it. Igregas. Paola accepted it and said, thank you. Ethan also handed over a bouquet. And this one is for you too, milady. Ethan, that bouquet is way too big. Paola joyfully cried inwardly, this feels so warm. But the one who should be receiving this warmth isn't me. Without thinking, she said, I wish Master would come outside too. Both Violet and Ethan froze. Paola awkwardly said, I'm sorry. Did I say something wrong? Violet asked, Paola, what do you think? Do you also think I should just go back like this? Leaving Vincent all alone like that? Please tell me honestly. You're the one who stays by Vincent's side more than anyone. Paola sta merdi in reply. I hope Master will meet Lady Violet. Thank you, Paola. Thanks to you, I made up my mind. I absolutely won't go back until I see Vincent. Hearing that, Ethan gave a drained, helpless look while Paola cried inwardly, oh no, I've made things worse. After that, the bouquet was thrown to the floor along with Vincent's angry voice. Why you? What exactly did you say to her? Paola could only lower her head and remain silent. Vincent shouted, get out. I don't want to see your face anymore. Ethan hurriedly stepped in to stop him. Vincent, calm down. Why are you making this so complicated? You just have to meet her. He growled, what? What's the big deal? There's nothing difficult about it. Just do what you used to do before. Pretend you can still see. This is how Ethan explained it before. You just need to hide the fact that you can't see anymore, right? Then all you have to do is pretend you can still see clearly like before. But that was in the past. Besides, back then I could still see a little. Unlike now when I can't see anything at all. Even so, all you saw before were vague outlines anyway. Back then, you could even deal with people much more difficult than Violet. So why are you like this now? Hiding behind Paola, Ethan provoked him. Don't tell me, Vincent. Are you scared? And so this is where things ended up now. Direction, Ethan. Assistance, Paola. Lead roles, Vincent, Violet. The important thing is your gaze. You have to make them think you're looking straight at them. Vincent answered obediently. I know. Paola encouraged him, Master, don't worry. Judging from how accurately you throw things, your sense of direction is excellent. Hearing that, Ethan laughed and said, Violet will sit directly across from you. I'll arrange it that way. Milady, please come over here. You'll stand in for Violet. Try looking straight ahead naturally. Vincent asked, where am I supposed to look? A little higher? Lower? No, now you're looking too far to the side. She stepped forward and gently lifted his face. Like this. Look this way. At that moment, the two of them sat facing each other without saying anything. Ethan exclaimed, good. Now try talking to Milady for a bit. You need to practice conversation too. Your posture is too stiff. Lean back against the chair or cross your legs. What am I suddenly supposed to talk about? Anything is fine. Or let Milady start first. Come on, Milady, if you were Violet, what would you say after not seeing Vincent for so long? She let out a small sound and hesitated. If I were Violet, then? What? What happened all this time? Why didn't you come see me? Vincent immediately said Violet would never say it like that. Oh dear, Milady, your acting is awful. Again, embarrassed, Paola said, Vincent, what really happened? Vincent commented, that's terrible. Stiff is better than that. Even if you're embarrassed, at least try to imagine it a little. Ethan, meanwhile, was clutching his stomach and laughing uncontrollably. Paola spoke again. Do you know how worried I was? This time Vincent replied, I'm sorry. As you know, I've been rather busy. A few dangerous things happened. Because of that, I was very tense. If I met you in that state, I was afraid I might say something hurtful. I was also worried that you might be put in danger. Seeing that, Paola thought to herself, he's doing better than I expected. If that was the case, you should have written to tell me first. I waited for so long. I didn't think of that. I'm truly sorry for making you worry. It's not because I dislike you, so don't misunderstand. Paula thought again. Even his eyes looked natural. If that's the case, then I'm relieved. Vincent, there's something I really want to say. Paula startled and blushed deeply. Vincent deliberately repeated, want to say? She'll definitely say that, but saying it myself is too embarrassing. She kept hesitating, and only after a long pause did she finally say, I missed you. He asked, really? By then, Paula's face was completely red. Suddenly Vincent smiled and said, thank you. Paula thought, in surprise, that expression isn't meant for me to see. That gaze isn't meant for me. It felt strange, as if she had just peeked at a secret she was never meant to know. She was so lost in thought she didn't hear Ethan calling her until he shouted, Milady. Only then did she snap back and reply, Is it all right now? Ah, yes. It seems fine now. You did well. It only needs to be like that. Keep the conversation as short as possible. If it goes on too long, she'll notice something strange. Violet would never be the one to end the conversation first, so it would be best to make an excuse about being tired and stand up first. Vincent replied, all right. Now all that's left is leaving. Can you stand up and walk away on your own like you used to? If you practice enough, though, I'll still need her help with this part too. Yes, I understand. Master, I'll hold your hand and guide you. She took his hand. He turned and smiled. Thank you. Once again, her face flushed red. What is this? Why is this happening? Suddenly, she didn't want to hold his hand anymore. Please come this way, my lord. Suddenly he asked, what's with this? Don't hold on so half-heartedly. If I fall, you'll have to catch me. She replied in a fluster. And me? No, it's nothing. Right, I'll do that. And so, she held his hand tightly. She thought, I can't let go now. Hurry up. Why you have to remember the way clearly, all right? All right. Paula wondered inwardly why. Why does my heart keep aching so strangely? Ethan stood watching the two of them, looking thoughtful. At that moment, Vincent sat down and said, I'll practice by myself a few more times. Yes, do that. Since he kept holding my hand, it feels a little hot now. Then Ethan suddenly said, that must have been difficult. Thank you so much. It was nothing, milady. May I ask you something? Of course. Go ahead. Your bangs. You wear them like that on purpose, don't you? Startled, she exclaimed, Huh, I mean, you deliberately use them to cover your face, right? Ah, I see. But it looks like you can't hide the fact that you're blushing. Vincent looks pretty good too, after saying that. He stepped forward and reminded him, Ah, Vincent, be careful in front of you, leaving Paula standing there with a face as red as a tomato. Then Violet happily took her hand and said, Paula, did you hear? I'm meeting Vincent today. I'm really happy and nervous. How do I look? Do I look all right? Paula praised her. Very, very beautiful. Oh my, thank you. Inside the room, Vincent and Ethan had already prepared to receive Violet. Paula and Violet stood outside the door. She announced, I'm coming in, and as soon as she said that, she opened the door. The sight of Vincent sitting there met her eyes, making Violet's face flush slightly. She ran toward him, calling out, Vincent. Ethan quickly stopped her. Come on, Violet, sit down first. Ethan guided her to the seat they had arranged beforehand. Vincent, it's truly been such a long time since I last saw you. Yes, it has been a long time. Suddenly, Ethan winked at Paula, signaling her to do something. Violet excitedly asked loudly, What happened? What's wrong with you? Why do you look so much thinner? Why didn't you reply to my letters? What have you been doing all this time? Do you know how worried I was? Ethan kept trying to stop her. Slow down. Why are you asking everything at once? Vincent said, Ask one at a time, and I'll answer them all. First of all, the reason I haven't seen you all this time. You know it too. I've been so busy that I couldn't think about anything else. A few dangerous things also happened. I was worried that if I met you in that state, I might say something thoughtless. I was afraid I might put you in danger too. I thought I should only see you once everything had settled down and I had gotten well again. It's all right. I understand. Just seeing that you're safe is enough. I'm so glad you're all right. Thank you for showing me that you're well. I was worried that maybe you didn't like me anymore. Of course not. Yes, I know, but I just missed you so much. As she said that, she smiled radiantly. Standing behind her, Paula remembered how she herself had once struggled to say, I missed you very much, my lord. She thought, as expected of the heroine, the words I could barely force out. He would probably just smile gently and answer her kindly, with those soft yet loving eyes of his. But instead, Vincent replied indifferently, All right, from now on, I promise I'll answer your letters. Paula cried out inwardly, Huh? That answer is different from the one he gave before. Really? Violet asked. Ah, Vincent, did you like the flowers? The flowers? I mean the bouquet I sent you. Ethan and Paula, caught off guard, both exclaimed at the same time. Violet continued. Which kind did you think was the prettiest? Next time I'll only choose that kind. Paula thought. Oh no, I never told him any details about the flowers. Vincent hesitated, unsure how to answer. Then Ethan stepped in to help. What's there to be shy about? I heard your favorite was the purple one, right? Violet immediately asked. Really? That one was the prettiest. Oh, I thought so too. Vincent, it's about time to start wrapping this up. All right, Violet, I'm a little tired today. May I go back now? Ah, I see. Of course. I can come see you again, right? Of course. Whenever you want. Paula thought to herself, I should go open the door for him. But the moment she turned around, Violet suddenly rushed forward and threw her arms around him, calling out, Vincent, I miss you so much. Truly, truly. She looked up at him with tearful eyes, then asked in shock, Huh? Vincent, your eyes. Vincent hurriedly pushed her away, causing her to fall to the floor. He quickly turned around and just ran off blindly, only to trip over a chair leg. As a result, he crashed heavily to the ground, leaving everyone stunned. Paula hurried over to help him up. My lord, that fall had made Vincent's nose start bleeding. The blood streamed down and dripped onto the floor. He thought bitterly, so it finally happened, and in the worst possible way. Outside, Violet kept pounding on the door. Vincent opened the door. Let's talk for a moment, please. Inside the room, Vincent sat down, bowed his head, and trembled as he said, No matter how much I practiced, it was useless. It's all over now. Over. From outside, Violet's voice came through the door. Vincent, please. Paula could only look at him in pity. He said again, No, it can't end yet. It can't fall apart now. Violet still didn't stop. Open the door, Vincent. Outside, the rain poured down in sheets. At last, Violet finally stopped. Ethan carefully led her away. And when the two of them gradually disappeared at the end of the corridor, Paula cracked the door open to check, then turned back inside and said, They're gone now. Vincent lay down on the bed and pulled the blanket over his head. I'm going to sleep. Don't bring breakfast tomorrow morning. Paula said nothing and returned to her room. The next morning, while walking, Paula ran into Violet. She called out, Lady Violet. Paula. Paula thought to herself, That looks like she's dressed to leave. She asked, Don't tell me you're planning to go. I'm not sure yet. Ethan told me everything. How is Vincent? He's still very angry, isn't he? It was just a misunderstanding. My master isn't angry, but I hurt him. After that, the two of them went to talk beneath a tree. Actually, since I was little, I've been a very inadequate fiancé. I never liked learning the etiquette and accomplishments a lady is supposed to know. I was always mischievous. I spent more time running around and lifting my long skirts than sitting still. Mother scolded me so often, saying a lady mustn't behave like that, and that no man would ever love me. Whenever I was scolded like that, Vincent always comforted me. He said he liked me because I showed my charm honestly without hiding it. He said that rather than one person sacrificing for the other, it was much happier when both people were in harmony. Paula thought to herself, Master once said such wonderful things? Violet continued, I was so happy when my engagement to Vincent was decided because I would get to spend my whole life beside someone who saw through to my soul, not just my appearance. Even if Vincent only thought of me as a friend or family, I didn't mind. I would love him, my husband, with all my heart. My love would burn me alive, and I promised myself that even if the whole world turned its back on him, I would be the only one to stand by his side. That's why I thought I would be able to accept him no matter what state he was in. But the truth is, Paula, when I learned what Vincent was really like then, for a moment I thought something truly awful. I'm so disappointing. If I had been more perceptive, I would have realized how much Vincent was suffering when I came. It must have been so hard for him. He must have been so afraid, yet I knew nothing, and I just whined and complained about why he wouldn't see me. I'm not worthy of being a wife. If I were a truly wonderful wife, I wouldn't have panicked. I would have calmly embraced him. I would have whispered that it was all right, that I still loved him. Paula immediately said, That's not true. Please don't blame yourself. My master and Lord Christopher deliberately hid everything. So how could Lady Violet possibly have known? And I think your reaction was only natural. Lord Vincent surely understands that too. Violet asked, Really? Yes, really. But Vincent probably won't want to see me for a while. Paula thought, it's not that he doesn't want to see you. From what I can tell, my master is terrified, more afraid of seeing Lady Violet again than of the engagement being broken off. If Milady leaves now, will the two of you ever meet again? Especially if the engagement truly is broken off afterward. She remembered Vincent's words. It can't end yet. It can't fall apart now. Paula looked at her and asked, Lady Violet, do you still want to stay by Lord Vincent's side for the rest of your life? Yes, that has never changed. Paula held out her hand. Then do what you want. So what if you act clingy? As long as it creates a chance for the two of you to face each other. Do what you want. Those words made Violet remember her childhood with Vincent. Smiling, she said, that's right. I'll be clingy. Call me greedy if you want, but if it means I can see Vincent again, then I'll do it. I want to be with him. Paula, please support me this time, too. Paula had to narrow her eyes and thought, she shines so brightly it almost blinds me. If I love someone, will I become like that too? Probably never. The hands of noble ladies my age will always stay smooth and beautiful, but mine will always be rough and small. Even if some wondrous fairy tale miracle exists, it was never meant for me. My life will never have such dazzling, sparkling moments. But I'm willing to cheer her on. Thinking that, she smiled brightly and replied, yes, of course. And the next day, Violet stood before Vincent's door and called, good morning, Vincent. Could you come out for a little while? And the day after that, good morning, Vincent. Isabella said the new carriage smells wonderful. Shall we have tea together? And then another day, Vincent, did you sleep well? Could you come out for a bit today? But all that answered her was silence and a tightly shut door. Paula and Ethan asked, still not opening the door today either? Vincent really is stubborn. Violet, you can't stay here forever, especially not with your father. She cut Ethan off. Vincent has already been hurt so much by people. Even when his parents died, he suffered terribly. Paula felt sympathy for Violet. Her expression made it look as though she had made up her mind to do something. Afterward, Paula went into the room to persuade Vincent. My lord, today, Lady Violet. But before she could finish, he slammed his spoon down on the table. I don't want to eat. Take it away. Yes. Lady Violet said that she understands. Understands what? Does she pity me and want to show compassion to a blind fiancé? Why would you say that? Am I wrong? He angrily struck the table with his hand. The hot plate of food accidentally splashed onto his hand. Paula called out anxiously, Master, are you all right? He shouted, get out. Paula quickly left. She thought, Master rarely says he feels unwell. The weaker and smaller he feels, the more he builds thorns around himself and lashes out like this. Thinking that, she bit her lip. Suddenly she ran back and threw the door open, shouting, Master, why have you come back again? Just as he turned around, Paula said, forgive my rudeness, and flung a pile of letters into the air. These are the letters Lady Violet has sent you all this time. Even though she knew she wouldn't receive a reply, she kept sending one every 2 days. During the entire time I've stayed in this estate, there has never been a single day when you didn't receive a letter. My lord, I'm not good with words, so I can't give you the best advice right now. But I believe that, at the very least, this sincerity is real. Vincent fumbled as he gathered the letters and remembered Violet's words. The flowers in the garden are so beautiful. I want to show them to you. Today I bought a pretty dress. I want to wear it when I see you. I miss you, Vincent. I miss you so much. Paula prayed inwardly, please, please read them. Then she said, if you want, I can read the letters aloud to you. Just by listening, you'll find your courage again. I don't want my master to push away the people important to him because of doubt, and I don't want him to end up alone again. Please be strong, master. Vincent said, all right. Pour la crier inwardly. Ah, so I really can't do this after all? Vincent continued, no need to read the letters. I know very well what they say. I didn't expect Violet to keep sending them. Fine, I'll meet her. Joyfully, she exclaimed, Master. His expression darkened as he asked, wasn't it your instigation that made Violet stay here? She avoided the question and answered, no, not at all. He sighed, how shameless. Call Violet here. But before that, clean all this up. Yes. A moment later, Violet came rushing in. The moment she arrived, she threw her arms around Vincent, tears streaming down her face, her voice choked with emotion. I will never break off the engagement, and I will never tell anyone about your condition. I mean it. He said nothing in reply, only gently patted Violet on the back. Seeing that, Paula's lips curved upward in delight. After that, Violet said, see you tomorrow, Vincent. At that moment, Paula asked cheerfully, how did that feel? He answered tiredly, don't look so smug. Then suddenly he laughed. and his hand reached out to take hers. But anyway, he said softly, "Thank you. You remember the last time we practiced that conversation, don't you? I thanked you then too. I found it so funny how difficult it was for you to say, 'I miss you.' Thank you. I truly mean it." Startled, she thought, "Master." After only practicing a few times, he can already follow the sound and turn to face me. That day, the face I used to secretly watch was now turned toward me. No, actually, from beginning to end, I could only stare at him blankly. I couldn't think of anything anymore. A warning bell was ringing in my head. Thank you. I truly mean it. Since last night, these vague warning signals have been so unsettling. Later, in the brightly colored flower garden, at the tea table, Paula broke out in a sweat and thought, "This is so awkward. Why am I here?" She remembered Violet grabbing her and saying, "You have to come with us, Paula." "Absolutely." I heard Isabella already gave permission. Just then Ethan spoke up. I can tell without even looking that Violet can be a bit hot-tempered. She immediately shot back, "Don't say pointless things." Paula thought, "This won't do. I should run." She picked up the teapot and stood up, but before she could leave, Vincent asked, "Where are you going?" Flustered, she replied, "The tea is gone. I was going to get more." "No need. Stay here." But seeing Violet and Ethan staring at her, she thought gloomily, "Oh, this is so embarrassing." Suddenly Ethan said, "How touching. If anyone saw this, they'd think the maid and her master were about to be separated forever. Even a maid needs a little breathing room. How could she feel comfortable staying by her master's side all day?" Vincent asked irritably, "What did I do? What did I do to make her uncomfortable?" "Exactly what you're doing now. Hurry along, maid. Leave Vincent to me." All right, I'm going." With that, she hurried off, panting as she ran. After a while, she carefully finished preparing the tea. I really don't want to go back." Suddenly, she stopped short. Seeing a stranger at the tea table, she wondered, "Who is that?" Ethan asked, "You came with us. So where did you disappear to? You vanished so suddenly you startled me." The man replied, "I just want to have a look around the estate." Haha, sorry. At that moment, Paula remembered. He was the person she had met in the forest before. Violet suddenly called to her, "Oh, come here quickly. There's someone I want to introduce. This is Ethan's younger brother." He turned around with a gentle smile. Paula cried out in surprise. "Lord Christopher has a younger brother? I never told you. I have a younger brother who's kind, handsome, and very much a source of pride. You should greet her too. This is the maid who takes care of Vincent." He held out his hand and said, "Pleasure to meet you. I am Lucas Christopher." Paula thought blankly, so that's why he can move around the annex so freely. She took his hand and replied, "It's nice to meet you." To her surprise, he kissed her hand and then said, "Just call me Lucas." Powerlessly, she thought, these brothers. Lucas said, "They must make things hard for you, don't they? My brother, and my sister too, they're all far too unusual." Ethan immediately objected. "No way. The maid likes me." Violet chimed in as well. "Honestly, you people are too much. So it turns out I'm the only one you kept it from." Lucas saw the. "It's because Vincent didn't want it." Ethan smiled and added, "I always respect the wishes of the person involved." Paula thought in surprise, "Lord Lucas knows about Master's condition too?" She murmured his name to herself. Lucas Christopher. It was that very family that had made her become like this. She trembled so much the teapot in her hand tilted. Why am I suddenly remembering that now? Suddenly, Lucas steadied the tea tray. Looking up awkwardly, she said, there isn't a teacup for Lord Lucas. I'll bring one right away." With that, she hurriedly turned away. Lucas watched her, puzzled. As Paula walked, she told herself, "Don't think nonsense. I'm just an outsider, that's all." "Lord Lucas, why are you here?" "I just came out for some fresh air." "Come to think of it, I never heard your name." I'm Paula." He repeated her name, Paula. She froze in shock. "Why are you saying my name as if it were something precious?" "Paula, we met in the forest before, didn't we?" "Yes, that's right. At the time, I wondered who you were, and it turned out you were a servant." "Did the letter I gave you last time reach your master?" "Yes, the one with the gold lettering." "Oh, where did you get that letter?" "I picked it up in front of the estate gate. I meant to hand it to one of the servants, but I happened to run into you, so I gave it to you instead." "Was it an important letter?" She bowed deeply. "Yes, it was very important. Thank you for returning it." Lucas looked at her, the corner of his lips curling slightly. "I'm glad it was just as I imagined." Not quite understanding, Paula asked, Huh. To be honest, I was very surprised. When I heard his voice in the forest, I thought I must have been mistaken. So the two of you were together then, weren't you? It seems he trusts you very much, Paula. No, not at all. We did take a walk together, but it was only... He cut her off. But you know, don't you, Paula? Then Lucas suddenly continued. I'm the one who made him blind. All that time by his side, you've been looking at me with wary eyes, haven't you? Isn't that right? Frightened, she stepped back, thinking, what is this man talking about? What on earth is he saying? The teacup in her hand slipped and fell. As if sensing it, Vincent called out from the other side, Paula? Lucas continued, was I wrong, Paula? She stammered, I. Suddenly her eyes widened in surprise because Vincent was now groping his way toward them. He called again, Paula. She hurried over to him. Master, let's go for now. Let's go. Please, we need to leave right away. Before leaving, she turned back to look at Lucas. He still wore that calm smile. A little later, Paula asked Vincent, did that person really do it? Do what? Your eyes, master. Lord Lucas, Lord Ethan's younger brother, said he was the one who made your eyes like this. Lucas said that? Yes. Vincent lowered his head and said, no, that's not it, master. Please don't hide it anymore. You have to stay away from that man. It really wasn't him. Then who was it that did it? Vincent fell silent for a moment, then spoke a name. James. What? James Christopher. Ethan's half-brother. He's the one who left me like this. Paula was stunned and thought, a lowly person like me had been told the truth by him, and only then did I realize I'd crossed a line I should never have crossed. I understood it clearly later. The two of them still visited the estate from time to time, and of course Lord Lucas came with them. When Paula looked up, she still saw Lucas's smiling face. She thought, what did those words really mean? Was it really not Lord Lucas? And just how much does Lord Ethan know? What could someone lowly like me possibly understand anyway? This wasn't something I should interfere in. I only needed to do my job well, but now I seemed to understand at least a little of the sharp coldness in my master's manner. After that, a letter with a sprig of flowers was placed on the table, and Paula picked up the sprig and looked it over for a while. It's quiet today. It feels a little lonely, doesn't it? Vincent said, not at all. It's more comfortable alone. That's rather cold. I'll take that as a compliment. Paula looked at him intently and thought, I thought he had only become so curt because he lost his sight. But what is he really thinking? Suddenly he said, I've been smelling something sweet for a while now. Something sweet? I brought pound cake for dessert today. Pound cake? I'll serve it with the utensils right in front of you, sir. Vincent picked up the spoon and used it skillfully. She handed him a piece of cake, and he took it and ate happily. She thought, the cook said he loved this when he was little. It seems that was true. Is it really that good? Let me try some. Thinking that, she stepped over, picked up a piece, and tasted it. She marveled inwardly. Good heavens, is cake really this delicious? And just like that, she kept savoring the piece in her hand. A soft breeze blew in, making her hair sway gently. Suddenly Vincent said, I hear something rustling. What? My hair ribbon is a little long, so the wind is blowing around. Lately, I've been using the ribbon Lady Violet gave me. She remembered it then. Back when Paula had made a flower bouquet, she'd tied it with her own hair ribbon, hadn't she? That kept bothering Violet, so she tied a new ribbon in Paula's hair. There, all done. Turn around, Paula. Well, do you like it? Thanks to your advice, I was able to gather all my courage. So please accept this gift. I can't accept something like this, Lady Violet. Oh, don't refuse, Paula. She thought, how am I supposed to turn this down? At that moment, Vincent said with admiration, that's wonderful. She replied, it is wonderful, but it also feels like a bit of a burden. Giving me something this beautiful. I don't know if I deserve it. He said, it will definitely suit you. Your beauty will shine even more. Those words made her face turn red. Where did you even hear words like that? Violet says things like that all the time. Paula thought to herself, Master only says that because he thinks I'm Alicia. I don't want to talk like this. She quickly turned away and said, I'll go get a book to read. Vincent was about to call her back, but stopped himself. After a while he asked, you seem to like reading very much. What do you think of this life? Why are you asking me that so suddenly? I mean, living in this house, spending your days only serving me. Are you satisfied? I've told you before, this isn't a place for dreaming. I don't know why you're asking, but I'm satisfied with my life as it is. Don't you want to go back home? Not exactly. Why not? Because I have no reason to go back. You once said you had sisters. Which child are you? I'm the eldest. I see. That doesn't sound easy. I think you mentioned the second one before. You still remember that? But why are you asking me all this? Come to think of it, I haven't heard much about you. Your second sister must miss you a lot. I don't think so. They've gone to a better place. She looked out the window toward that blue sky. She thought my sisters are all there. They escaped the hell that devil ravaged. They're surely happy now, and they must be blaming me too. Then Vincent said, they must have married into good families. I suppose it sounded that way. Except for the third one. Father cherished her more than the others. She fell into thought again. In that house without me. How are they now? Perhaps this is only a pointless worry. He asked again, what about your mother? She clenched the hem of her clothes tightly, then answered, I don't have one. She thought, whether she's dead or alive, I don't even know, so saying I don't have one isn't wrong. Hearing that, Vincent agreed. That's true. There's no need to force yourself to miss someone. Irritated, she thought, enough. Stop digging any further. What about you, then? Do you miss her? I know very well that his mother died in an unfortunate accident. Even knowing that, I still feel awful for asking. Suddenly he said no. Startled, she asked why not. If someone is dead, you'll meet them again eventually. What's there to miss? Grief should be brief. I don't want regrets either. Better to throw emotions away than let them stand in my way. She thought, what cold words. But I used to be the same, so I understand. When my sisters died, painful feelings flooded over me, but I had to keep living day after day. I didn't have the strength to hold on to those feelings, so I cut them away. And life became easier to breathe through. Is your life like that too? Then she asked, you once said this isn't a place for dreaming, but surely there's still some dream you want to fulfill. He lifted his teacup and answered, I only wish I could see. I really had asked something I shouldn't have. What about you? Even if it's only a foolish dream, what would you dream of? I want to live a very, very long time. Of course, it would be better if I didn't have to suffer, but I've always been someone drifting from place to place, so I don't dare dream of anything too grand. Is that so? Then stay here. At least here, you won't suffer the hardships outside. You'll allow me to stay? I'll allow you to stay for a long time. She thought suspiciously, this man is really strange today. Do I need to sign some kind of contract? Suddenly, he reached out his hand and said, I will protect you. Then touched Paula's hair. Promise me. He gently kissed it. Because you are mine, I will protect you. Paula's eyes widened in shock, her hands clenching tightly. Stay by my side for a long time. Paula blushed, dazed and unable to say anything. Since losing my sight, my other senses have grown much sharper. Your breathing, the tremor in your voice, even the sounds you make. Let me guess what you're like right now. When you're embarrassed, you usually go silent. Perhaps right now you're so moved your mouth is hanging open. She immediately denied it. That's wrong. Completely wrong. That's not it at all. Is that so? Master really has changed. The man who once shut himself away is no longer the same. I, who always stayed in that room to serve him. He, who had begun stepping outside. This feeling in this relationship was nothing but poison. The day I discovered the feelings that needed to be hidden past, and I returned to ordinary life. But then Isabella suddenly dragged Paula off somewhere. Startled, she called out, Madam Isabella. In a hurry, Isabella said, Paula, hurry and go outside with your master. Before she could understand what was happening, Isabella urged again, quickly, get ready. I'll speak to him myself. Huh? Go where? Anywhere. The farther away, the better. If possible, go somewhere safe. I also permit you to return late. Madame Isabella had suddenly come to the annex. Madame Isabella, I'm ready. She led Vincent outside. He was silent and thoughtful. Then she looked at Paula and said, well then, let's go for a little walk. After that, the two of them walked into the forest. Paula asked in confusion, what in the world is going on? Who knows? She could feel his hand trembling. She wondered, does Master know the reason for this sudden outing? Recently, he had become much better at hiding his feelings. Though curious, there must be a reason he doesn't want to tell me, so I shouldn't ask. She said, I don't know where we should go anymore. Madame Isabella told us to go somewhere far away and safe. Then let's just keep going. Huh? Go where? Master, where are you going? Vincent stood ahead of her. The sunlight was so bright that Paula had to raise her hand to shield her eyes. After a while, the two of them stopped before a gate. She looked up. There's a gate here? I heard this is a passage used in emergencies. If you go through here, it leads to the village. She stepped closer and said, this gate is completely rusted. It's because no one has used it in ages. It really feels like a secret door, doesn't it? Beyond this door is a whole new world, where there are strange beasts and fairies, and we'll befriend them and go on adventures together. Vincent said at once, I've noticed this for a while now. You read too many books, but there's nothing wrong with dreaming. This is a path only people in the family know about. Now only I know it, but now I know it too. That's right. Now it's only the two of us. Other than you and me, no one knows about it. She thought with wonder, it really is a secret door. But how did you know the way here? You walked straight here, as if you could actually see the road. He pulled her hand. Come here. Touch this. There are marks carved into the tree trunk. If you keep finding trees with these marks, they'll lead you to the gate. She exclaimed, wow. He said, shall we try going to the village? Huh? Why? Isabella told us to go far away. But are you really all right? Haven't you only just started daring to step outside your room? Aren't you curious about the village? It's fairly large and quite famous. I am curious. But what if it's dangerous? No one is going to see a blind man and think he's Count Ben Lunita. And you'll be with me too. I'm still afraid and uneasy about going outside, but just as you said, I can't go on living like this forever. I want to try being brave just once. Paula thought. Master's face turned straight ahead, looked so resolute. Seeing that, I couldn't refuse him anymore. All right then, let me go back and get a hat. I'll halt. No need. If we go out, we could just buy one there. But that'll waste time. To avoid drawing attention in the village, I think it'd be better if both of us covered our faces. Whenever I go outside, I always wear a hat. In crowded places, I need to hide my face even more carefully. Even with my bangs covering me, I still don't feel at ease. I'll be right back. He caught her by the hand. Wait, don't go. She looked at his hand, slightly bewildered. But isn't this a place no one knows about? You'll be fine here by yourself, Master. It will only be a moment. I'll run as fast as I can and come right back. Don't you trust me? I swear I'll be back before you can count to 100. All right, but if it's over 100, you know what will happen. She could only laugh awkwardly. Ha ha, ha ha, then I'm going. As she ran, she kept glancing back at Vincent. He was still standing there, leaning against the trunk of a tree beneath the filtered sunlight. Paula returned to the estate. I have to hurry, she told herself. But why is it so quiet? Suddenly a loud voice rang out. Where's Count Ben Lunita? She realized the voice seemed to be coming from the direction of the main hall. Peering through a crack in the door, she wondered, who is that? Is that one of his guests? Suddenly Madame Isabella spotted her, and her eyes widened with surprise and worry. She replied to the man, the master is not here at the moment. The man's face darkened, and he ordered coldly, call him out at once. Then he suddenly turned toward Paula's direction, and she quickly shrank behind a pillar. Without even thinking, she had already hidden herself. When she secretly peeked at him, his gaze was fixed straight up toward the upper floor as he said, I only need to see the Count. He looked like a vicious snake, and she could feel the killing intent in his eyes. I don't know where he's hiding, but he's definitely here. Call him out. Instinctively, she knew she must not face him. I quietly left the estate through the back door without even looking back. At that moment, Vincent turned toward the sound of Paula's pounding footsteps. You, why are you so late? Master, there's a visitor at the estate right now, but the atmosphere feels very strange. At those words, Vincent's face darkened. His body gave way, and he stumbled, and Paula hurried to support him. Master, he asked, I see. He's come then. Why did that man come here? He's probably here to check on my condition. Has he never come before? This is the first time he's come in person since I ended up like this. Before, he only sent people a few times. Recently, with Lucas around, he must also have heard about my meeting with Ethan and Violet. Did you run into him? No, I only saw him from afar. It felt like I shouldn't go near him. I see. You did well. I brought the hat. So shall we go into the village now? No, I don't have the strength anymore. Then let me take you somewhere else. Do you feel uncomfortable here? As she said that, he rested his head on her shoulder, his eyes closing softly. Paula thought, no, not at all. I don't mind in the slightest. Then stay here. And like that, the sun slowly began to set behind the hills. Paula said, even though I only caught a glimpse of him from afar, that man seemed displeased that he couldn't meet you, Master. He knew perfectly well you were here and ordered them to call you out. The aura around him was terrifying. That's right. So you mustn't go near him either. Be careful not to cross paths with him. If you do happen to run into him, don't raise your head and don't say a word. Who is he to come looking for you like this? He's Ethan's older brother, James Christopher. When we were children, he used to play with me often. Back then, he was a little cold, but very responsible and someone to look up to. But James changed after Count Christopher, Ethan's father, was murdered. She was startled inwardly. That can't be. I never saw any sign of such sorrow on Ethan's face. But with Lucas, yes, even when he smiles, there does seem to be something lifeless about him. She asked, was the villain ever caught? No, the case was closed without being solved. A nearby servant was once suspected, but there was no evidence. After that incident, James, Count Christopher, changed in a frightening way. To achieve his goals, he would stop at nothing, ready to use or kill people without hesitation. If necessary, he could even destroy his own bloodline. Can a person really change that much? Perhaps that was his true nature all along. We can never fully understand another person's heart. So if you ever meet James, run. That is the best thing you can do for yourself. What about you then? Right now, I'm also trying to run as far as I can. Until when, looking at him, she thought he appears calm on the outside, but inside he is nothing like that. She asked again, then why does he care about your condition? I've already told you. There are secrets that must remain hidden. If you break that rule and try to pry, you'll only bring disaster upon yourself. Whether it's right or wrong doesn't matter. What matters is whether you can bear the consequences. James isn't targeting me. I'm not the one he wants to deal with. She wondered to herself. Then who is it that he's really after? Only after darkness had completely fallen did we return to the mansion. Fortunately, he had already left, and from then on, everything went back to normal. She held a letter in her hand. Its contents read, "Whenever I look up at the sky, I want to go far away to a place where no one knows me." The letter seemed sad. Had something happened? Suddenly, Isabella snatched the letter from her hand and said, "There's no need to write back anymore." She quickly threw it into the nearby fireplace. She asked, "Is there a reason to burn it?" Isabella replied, "Letters like these are usually not kept. They're thrown into the fireplace and burned." She thought in silence. Maybe they weren't allowed to leave any trace. But was it really all right to suddenly stop replying like this? "It'll be fine," Mrs. Isabella had said. Or maybe the calm was only an illusion on my part. Then, on a night of pouring rain, as Paula was about to shut the door, she saw someone standing outside in the heavy downpour. Startled, she called out, "Lucas." He looked up and said, "Vincent, I've come to see Vincent." Still surprised, she asked, "Lucas, what is this?" Suddenly, Vincent came downstairs and said, "Come in." Lucas stepped inside. Paula handed him a towel. "Here. Use this to dry yourself." "Ah, thank you." Paula turned to close the door, then glanced back at him warily. Vincent told her, "Now go back to your room." She hesitated and replied, but he took her hand reassuringly. "It's fine. Go on." She thought to herself, is it really all right to leave Lord Lucas and Master alone together? Vincent urged her, "Hurry." "All right, I understand. But if anything happens, call me right away." With that, Paula went into her room and stared anxiously at the wall on Vincent's side. She couldn't hear anything to confirm what was happening, so she simply sat there hugging her knees, lonely, watching the raindrops outside the window. After that, Vincent informed her that Lucas would be staying here for a while and told her to remember it. "Lord Lucas? May I ask something?" "Go ahead." "Is Lord Lucas really someone trustworthy enough to stay in this mansion?" Vincent gave a faint smile and reached out to pat her head, but said nothing, leaving her full of question marks. She called hesitantly, "A master." Only then did he smile brightly and reassure her, "It's fine. Don't worry." She answered blankly, "If that's the case, then that's good. But why are you holding your head like that?" Then Lucas spoke up, "Paula, we meet again, don't we? Do you remember me?" "Yes, you're Lord Ethan's younger brother. I'm Lucas Christopher." "Yes, you did say Lucas Christopher." She thought uncomfortably. "So what am I supposed to do? Does he want me to call him by his name?" Thinking that, she said, "Lucas." He smiled and said, "That's right, Paula. It was only a matter of calling my name once, so why are you making that face?" He asked, "Are you cleaning up?" "Yes, I'll sit here, so just go about your work naturally." If he said so himself, and she'd been given permission, then she could just clean as usual. But she didn't feel comfortable at all. She spoke up and asked, "Is there something you want to say?" "Me? Not at all." That was a quick answer. Had he prepared it in advance? Lucas stood up. "You're still very wary of me, Paula. Is it because of what I said last time? That I was the one who made him blind?" "I know it wasn't because of you, sir," she replied. "That was a misunderstanding. But Lucas said seriously, I'm not joking. Paula thought to herself. He says to keep it secret, but his ears are pretending not to have heard anything. Don't tell me you heard from him? What are you talking about? I didn't expect him to tell you even that. In any case, it's a good thing that he has someone by his side he can confide in. She was startled. Wait, I didn't say anything. Better to clean up quickly and get out of here. Suddenly, he bent down and said, I'll help you. Yes, huh? And no, don't do that. I can do it myself. It's fine. I don't have anything to do anyway. If Paula gets scolded, I'll say I forced her to let me help. And from then on, Lord Lucas's excessive behavior continued. Moving books, Paula? Let me help. I wanted to try pulling this card at least once. He was kind, but she still didn't understand why he was doing all this. Could he really be that idle? Except for early in the morning, Lord Lucas was almost always in Master's room. I didn't know whether he'd come just to pass the time or for some other reason. But one thing I could be sure of was that whenever he was with Master, his voice, his expression, and even the words I couldn't fully hear, all carried an air of great care and seriousness. A few days later, Master said he wanted to go out for a walk. She ran overexcitedly, only to stop short, her expression changing at once. Because Lucas was coming too. He greeted her, You're here, Paula. A picnic sounds interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. She quietly walked behind them, thinking, I wonder if this is really a good idea. Why does it feel like Lord Lucas keeps watching me? Suddenly, he praised her. That hair ribbon really suits you, Paula. It's very pretty. Oh, yes. This was a gift from Miss Violet, right? I was there when she chose it. She was hesitating for a long time, so I helped a little. I thought pure white would suit you very well. Ah, I see. She thought. He must just be making polite conversation. Why do you look like you don't believe me? I'm not lying to you, Paula. All right, I get it. After that, they sat down at the table for tea. Ah, I just remembered. I only brought 2 teacups because I didn't think Lord Lucas would be coming. Seeing that, Lucas said, I don't need one. I don't really feel like tea right now. If that's the case, she offered Lucas a plate of cakes instead. Haha, are you worried about me? Really, I'm fine, she thought, but since he came along, I can't just let him have nothing. Suddenly, Vincent picked up a fork. She couldn't help bursting into laughter. Master really seems to like sweets. Then she and Vincent ate cake together, and both of them looked thoroughly pleased. Lucas, on the other hand, reacted differently. Too sweet. Are these 2 things really good? Vincent replied at once. They're not so bad that they're impossible to eat. Paula added, They're good. Lucas muttered, Now how am I supposed to eat this? Then he looked at Paula's now empty plate and handed his portion to her. You eat mine, Paula. It's too sweet for me. Her eyes lit up. Really? Thank you, sir. Then she suddenly noticed Vincent eyeing the cake plate and hurriedly hid it. This was given to me by Lord Lucas. Vincent replied, Who said anything? Lucas laughed in amusement and said, You're really interesting, Paula. I can also see that you're very close with Vincent. Vincent immediately waved it off. Close? Impossible. Paula crossed her hands in front of her. You've misunderstood, which is exactly why I said you're close. After that, Paula picked up the book and began to read. Then the girls set out on her journey. Lucas asked in surprise, What are you doing? I'm going to read fairy tales to Master. Then let me keep listening. A journey for the girl to seek happiness. Lucas turned to Vincent with suspicion. Fairy tales for Master? Paula continued reading, but there was still one problem. In the girl's heart remained lingering pain. Suddenly Vincent asked Lucas, Why are you sitting so close? I want to listen too. Paula thought, having someone besides Master listening makes me a little nervous. I don't know why, but I feel tense. Through her adventure, she gained companionship and love. Truly, it was a story with a meaningful lesson. When she finished reading, Lucas praised her. Your voice is very pleasant to listen to. It pulled me right in, so I really enjoyed it. You're flattering me too much. She glanced at Vincent and thought, if he's displeased even a little, he lets out a long sigh and pressures people. He also spoke up and said, At least it's better now than before. She grumbled inwardly. So is it perfect now? There's nothing left to criticize, right? Couldn't you praise me just once? What a stingy man when it comes to compliments. Lucas observed the 2 of them, then lowered his head and said quietly, To be honest, I'm really relieved. What do you mean? Because you seem very peaceful. When I only heard about it, I was worried. Even after seeing it with my own eyes, I still had some doubts, but after staying here for a while, I understand. You're truly living well. What a relief. I didn't even know you liked sweets. I also didn't know you liked strolling around, listening to books being read, and enjoying peace like this. It really puts my mind at ease. Come to think of it, Lord Lucas once said that he himself had caused Master to lose his sight. That meant he had known about Master's condition from the start. The conversation between the two of them must have been far heavier than I had imagined. So then, Lord Lucas's feelings for Master must surely be sincere. Why does he suddenly seem a little different to me? How moving. At that moment, Vincent set down his teacup. Ugh, I'm getting goosebumps. Haha, is that so? Paula wondered, hey, why did the mood change so fast? Lucas said again, it's all thanks to Paula being by your side. Thank you for staying with him. It's nothing. But Vincent thought it was only natural. Why thank her for that? Paula seethed inwardly. What? No, that's true, but couldn't you at least say thank you once in a while? She raised her teacup to her lips. So annoying, so irritating. Suddenly, Lucas complimented her again. Having a beautiful person by your side really does improve your spirits, doesn't it? Paula immediately spat out the tea she was drinking. She choked. Huh? Vincent repeated, beautiful? Who's beautiful? Lucas answered Paula. Beautiful, isn't she? Pure white suits her very well. Really? Yes, truly. Embarrassed, Paula screamed inwardly. What part of this face is beautiful exactly? Has he really looked carefully at my face? Could his taste be a little strange? Lucas went on, beautiful enough to make someone fall in love at first sight. What do I do? This man is too strange. Wait, do I really need to correct him? I want Master to remember me as having a beautiful face. There's no reason for me to argue that I'm ugly. Though she was a bit shocked, this was a compliment she might never hear again in her entire life. To be honest, it did make her happy. Smiling, she said, I'm a little embarrassed. From now on, if you want to say things like that, please only say them when we're alone. All right. Hearing that, Vincent frowned, looking displeased. Paula told herself, this time, I'm not lying. What? After afternoon tea, we're going for a walk? Yes, we'll take a turn around the area and then come back. So that's why we're leaving the picnic bag behind. In that case, I know a very beautiful place. Oh, can we take a different route than usual? Then Lucas went ahead to lead the way. After a while, they emerged from the tall trees, and sunlight fell across Paula's face. A field of blue-green flowers opened before her eyes, and she gasped, wow. Lucas asked, beautiful, isn't it? It's truly so beautiful. How did you know about this place? I used to wander around out of boredom and found it by chance. Paula pulled Vincent through the flowers and said happily, Master, the flowers are so beautiful. Right now, we're standing in the middle of a flower field. It's surrounded by rows of trees, and pure white flowers stretch out everywhere. The breeze blows softly, making the flowers dance too. Vincent gently lifted his face, then lightly closed his eyes to enjoy the cool wind. If you could see it with your own eyes, Master, you'd definitely be amazed too. Your reaction alone is enough. Master, don't be like that. Try opening your hand. Come on. Lucas urged him as well. Brother, hurry. Come on now. I'll hold your cane for you. So, just relax and stretch out your hand. Saying that, Lucas took the cane from Vincent's hand. Vincent reached out and touched the fresh flowers. Warm light filled his face, and the atmosphere turned dreamy. Paula spread out her arms cheerfully. It feels nice, doesn't it, Master? This vast flower field, this refreshing breeze. It's as if someone is guiding me, telling me to come to this place. I want to run. I want to run there right now. As if I myself had become a flower and the wind would carry me away. Lucas pulled Vincent along after her. You're fast, Paula. I didn't mean to run, but it's been a long time since I ran like this. It feels wonderful, doesn't it? But Vincent looked completely exhausted. Sweat streamed down his face, and his breathing was ragged. Paula asked anxiously, Master, are you all right? Lucas calmly asked, it was fun, wasn't it? Only then did Vincent answer, yes, surprising Paula as well. Vincent smiled and said with feeling, it feels very refreshing. That night at the annex, Paula knocked on the door, and it was immediately opened. Lucas, with his solid build, called out, Paula. She quickly covered her face. Oh my, oh dear. Paula, looking at me like that makes me a little embarrassed. Is something wrong? I came to return this to you. He remembered. Paula was wearing a dress, so he had told her to wrap his coat around her waist. Thank you, sir. I see. Well then, have some tea before you go. No, it's all right. It's already late. Just for a little while. Come in and sit for a bit before you leave, Paula. She thought to herself, being alone in a man's room this late at night is a bit much. But thanks to Lucas, I got to know that flower field. Staying just a little while should be fine. So she agreed, saying, all right. As Lucas put on his shirt, he said, today was fun. He liked a lot too. Now I understand why he's gotten better. With someone as kind as you by his side, How could he not? Today was only thanks to Lord Lucas leading us to that flower field. And Master tried very hard too. No need to be modest. Paula's efforts can't be denied. He knows that too. Thank you, sir. I've returned your coat as well, so I'll be taking my leave now. Suddenly he asked, do you still think what I said before was a lie? Hearing that, she stopped short. Lucas continued, the part about me being the one who took away his light. That's true. The reason he's like this is because of me. There were more and more assassination attempts, and I was too weak to even protect myself. I had no status and not enough courage to stand against them. So I dragged Vincent into all of this. And the result is what you see now. He lost his eyes while I was saved. So this time, it's my turn. Assassination attempts? Drag Master into it? Lucas, what are you saying? I don't understand. Suddenly, Lucas said, I'm going to give him my eyes. His eyes didn't lose their function. Only the surface was damaged. If he has surgery, he'll be able to see. It's a complicated operation. In the past, there wasn't a single doctor in this country who could perform it. But recently, there was one successful case. That means he has a chance too. So I'm going to give him my eyes. But how could someone who's still alive give away his eyes? That doesn't matter, because I'm going to die soon anyway. She spoke in shock and fear. Wait, what do you mean? Please don't say things like that. This is the only thing I can do. I want to give him my whole world. Paula thought, without the slightest hesitation, he'd already made up his mind from the depths of his heart. What am I supposed to say? Suddenly, Lucas came closer, looked straight in her eyes, and then said, just kidding, Paula. It's late, so you should go back now. Wait, hold on. Lucas pushed her toward the door and waved. But your panicked expression is really cute, Paula. Well then, good night. Suddenly she called out loudly, Lord Lucas. The next day, Master, may I borrow something? Not understanding, he asked, borrow? My cane? What for? Something is bothering me. Aha, so that's what all that noise was last night. You were punching away so hard that even Vincent could hear it from his room. Fine, if you want it, take it. Thank you, sir. If something has made you angry, it's all right to be angry. It's even fine to hit someone. I only ask that you don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt yourself. She asked so. I really can hit him? Yes, I permit it. If necessary, just think of it as my order. Oh, that's quite an appealing offer. Thank you, sir. Paula took the cane and ran out into the open yard, then imagined Lucas and struck him over the head. Oh, this doesn't feel bad at all. She raised her arm again one more time. When Lucas arrived at that very moment, I found you, seeing Paula charging at him with a cane. He hurriedly threw the bouquet down and raised both hands. Wait a second, Paula. Spare me. Paula threw the stick away too. No, im suri. So you were here, swinging a stick around like that? Were you really planning to hit me with it? Were you really going to do that? I'm sorry, I mean it. Please forgive me. Why would you make a joke like that? Paula was completely right. Maybe I really had lost my mind back then. I just felt guilty because you ended up like this because of me. I kept thinking about what I could do to make it up to you, and that's why I said something like that. I never should have told you that. I am truly sorry. It really shouldn't have been like that. He picked up the bouquet and held it out to her. I am sorry. I really am. Flowers? He went to the flower field again. Should I accept them? She took them and said, please don't make light of death. Never. She thought to herself, there are people who want to live but can't. I've witnessed countless deaths, and I don't want to take any life lightly. Yes, I promise. Thank you for forgiving me. I was worried you wouldn't forgive me, Paula. I wanted to make a good impression on you. On me? What? Because I like you. There he goes again. I'm not going to believe that. Haha, all right. Suddenly he kissed Paula on the cheek. Startled, she stepped back and cried out, hey. Lucas said, I really do like you. Paula could only stand there with her mouth open, unable to say a word. A few days later, Violet came and suddenly announced, I'm staying here too. Vincent asked why. Lucas asked too. What happened, sis? Ethan's been so busy lately, I hardly even see him, and I got rejected. Meanwhile, Lucas gets to stay here like this. Actually, I didn't ask permission beforehand either. Violet came over and threw her arms around Paula. You're all so cold. Now Paula's all I have left. Vincent and Lucas exchanged baffled looks. Paula thought, Miss Violet must feel very lonely. Do those two really not realize it? Violet continued, but I didn't come here for you too. I came to see Paula. Come on, let's go, Paula. I brought you lots of presents. Come on, Paula. Why are you just standing there blankly? She answered awkwardly, huh? Violet said, take it off. W what? After that, Paula sat on the bed. Vincent said, all this commotion just to find one dress. How noisy, she thought. Miss Violet told me to sit still so the dress wouldn't get ruined. But just sitting here doing nothing makes me feel like I'm sitting on pins and needles. Why are you so fidgety? She answered, the dress is a little uncomfortable. I am sorry. Is that so? She explained, it's a gift from Miss Violet. It's a very beautiful dress. I don't know anything about dress designs. Come closer. Ah, yes. He gently touched her face, then reached behind her hair. What's this? A hair ribbon. It's a gift Miss Violet gave me before. I see. If I touch somewhere strange, just tell me. Igriagis. He touched her arm, then suddenly asked, can I touch lower down? She blinked in confusion. Pardon, the hem of the skirt. Yes. She picked up the hem and held it out to Vincent. She told herself, Master is only trying to picture the design of the dress. I know, but this still feels really strange. Vincent stepped closer and said, even touching it, I still can't picture it. She called softly, and Master. Just then, Violet pushed the door open and exclaimed, what are you two doing? She looked utterly shocked. Paula hurriedly jumped to her feet. Are the preparations finished already? Master thought it was strange seeing me in a dress, so I was only describing it to him. Ah, I see. Violet immediately came over and asked, what do you think of Paula? She's beautiful, right? How would I know? I can't even see. She's very pretty. If Vincent could see her, he'd be surprised. Lucas is completely captivated already. Vincent asked, Lucas is completely captivated? Who knows? If I saw her with my own eyes, maybe there wouldn't be anything special at all. Paula said angrily, that's so mean. What? Maybe it doesn't suit me perfectly, but you don't have to make fun of me like that. At times like this, you could at least offer a compliment. I'm not good at lying. She huffed inwardly. There he goes again. What a cold-hearted master. Then she turned to look at Violet. Miss Violet, are you feeling unwell? No. I need to go get ready too. Paula, help me for a bit. Yes. Then this utterly unremarkable person will take her leave first. He immediately said, just hurry up and go. Outside? Violet asked, so that's how he is with Paula? It's the first time I've ever seen him like that. Huh? Could it be? Master? Yes. Paula thought, isn't Master always like that? He's always cold and irritable with me. Don't tell me he isn't like that with other people. Come to think of it, Ethan was shocked too when he saw Master throw something. Does he really only act like that toward me? A little while later, Violet and Paula came down the stairs, both looking dazzling. Suddenly, Violet's eyes widened. The next moment, she called excitedly, Ethan! He smiled brightly and said, long time no see. Why are you here? I thought you were too busy to come. Your servant brought the invitation all the way to my door. Violet slipped her arm through Vincent's and said, the more people there are, the livelier the party. Paula lowered her head and thought, even though I was told I looked pretty, the one who truly shines is Miss Violet. If I were a man, I'd definitely fall for her. Just then Lucas came over and said, Paula, allow me to escort you. As he said that, he held out his arm. Ethan also asked in surprise, then what about me? Flustered, she answered, I'm fine. No way. I just want to sit at the table and eat something good. Oh, Paula, it's a party. You should at least dance a little. Then soft music began to play. Vincent and Violet danced together. Ethan said worriedly, I wonder if he can manage. Lucas reassured him, she'll lead him. The two moved together gracefully, and with the bright smiles on both their faces. Ethan praised them. He's not stumbling at all. Lucas replied, they've danced together many times. Watching them, Paula thought, they really do look perfect together. It's like there's no room for anyone to come between them. Forget it. Let's have a drink. Lucas noticed her and came over. Would you like to dance one song with me, Paula? No, I'm not very good at dancing. Ethan laughed and said, if that's all you're worried about, don't be. Lucas will lead you well. She frowned inwardly. Even Ethan is saying that? Paula, do you really not want to? At this rate, I can't refuse. So she answered, all right. Paula looked stiff as a statue. Lucas said, come on, lift your head. Relax your body. Once you get used to the steps and the posture, it's not hard at all. Just follow me slowly, Paula. Look up toward the second floor, higher. Relax your shoulders. Push your chest forward. You're doing very well, Paula. Oh, really? See? It's not as hard as you thought, right? She thought, maybe it really isn't that hard. Then she stepped on Lucas's foot. I'm sorry. It's fine. Then she stepped on his foot again, and then once more. Paula, this is your first time, but you're doing very well. Tired, she said. Still, I'd rather this end soon. If this keeps up, Lord Lucas's feet won't survive. Then let's finish here. Suddenly, Lucas pulled her by the waist, making her fall backward with a cry. Ah! He laughed and said, "This looks pretty good too, doesn't it?" She could only answer helplessly, Ethan and Violet applauded and praised them. Beautiful. That was wonderful, Paula. She said, "Thank you." Then she glanced at Vincent and saw that he had turned away, looking not very pleased. Lucas noticed her again, then suggested, "How about we dance once more for practice?" She hurriedly refused. "No, I'm really fine now." She thought, "If I keep dancing, my feet will probably swell up." She tilted her head to look at Vincent again and saw him smiling as he talked with Violet. She thought with a sigh, the two of them really are perfect together, like lovers whispering sweet words to each other. Lucas called Paula. She replied at once, "Yes." This time, dance with the person you want to. "Can I?" After all, it's just the people here. It doesn't matter who you dance with. Is that so? Then, she walked toward Vincent and Violet and looked at them for a moment, then held out her hand. "Miss Violet, would you like to dance with me?" At that, Lucas bent over laughing. She thought uneasily, what? Did I do something wrong? I just wanted to invite the person I'm most grateful to. Ethan was shaking with laughter too. Violet smiled and agreed. "Of course, Paula." And so the two of them took each other's hands and danced together with remarkable grace. After that, the party ended and night fell. Lying beside Paula, Violet said, "Haha, to be honest, I was really surprised when you asked me to dance." "Really?" "Of course. It's the first time anything like that has happened. When I was little, I only danced with those three. After I got engaged, I mostly danced with Vincent. Dancing with friends is fun too, but dancing with you, Paula, was really new and enjoyable. I had a lot of fun too, Miss Violet, but you should really rest now so you can prepare for tomorrow. I still want more. Can't we talk a little longer? We can talk more tomorrow." Paula closed her eyes and told herself, I should sleep too. But as soon as she shut her eyes, images from the party rose in her mind. Everyone had been dancing and enjoying themselves, and Isabella had joined them too. She suddenly opened her eyes wide. "But I can't sleep. I just want to enjoy this feeling a little longer." She quietly opened the door and stepped out. Then she heard a noise and froze. What was that? The sound had come from Master's room. As she approached, Vincent fell against her. Startled, she cried, "Master!" Vincent looked utterly exhausted. She asked, Master, are you all right? Is that you?" "Yes, it's me. Did you have a nightmare?" He answered softly, "Yes." "So I woke up, then heard a sound and came out. If it hadn't been me, what were you going to do?" He gently touched Paula's face. "I knew it was you," she said. "If you go back to sleep right away, you'll probably have another nightmare. Why don't we take a short walk?" Vincent gave a slight nod. A little while later, the two of them went out by the lake. As she took off her cloak, she said, "It's pretty cold at night." Vincent immediately said, "No, don't. Put it back on. But you're already weak." He immediately shot her a dark look. All right. Look at him, getting ready to snap already. He seems better now. Have you calmed down?" "Yes." "Did you dream about it again today?" "I dreamed about the day I lost my sight." She thought, that really is a terrible nightmare. If I ask more, it'll probably only make him remember those awful memories. At least tonight, I want to leave him with good memories. She said softly. As for me, I couldn't sleep because I kept replaying everything that happened at the party. It was really so much fun. The excitement from then is still lingering even now. I've never worn such a beautiful dress before. Miss Violet even said she would give it to me, but I refused. I just felt like it didn't suit me, and besides, it was so expensive that I felt uncomfortable accepting it. Vincent said, "Violet has more dresses than she can count, so even if you take one, no one will say anything. But it feels wasteful for me to wear it. I was already satisfied just being able to try it on. You're not interested in clothes?" She thought, it's not that I'm not interested, but even if I had them, I wouldn't have anywhere to wear them or anyone to show them to. Instead, it's better if someone who suits them more wears them. So I think Miss Violet suits it better. Ah, and one more thing. Dancing is really difficult. Lord Lucas taught me, but I don't think I'll ever be able to dance properly, even though Lord Lucas is a very good teacher. Suddenly Vincent said, "Give me your hand." "Huh? Dance with me." "And me?" "With you." "What? You don't want to?" "It's not that I don't want to." She worried inwardly. What if I stomp all over his feet? A faint smile appeared on Vincent's lips, and he unexpectedly held out his hand. "Would you like to dance with me?" Paula was startled for a moment. "What if I step on your feet? I'll forgive you once. Then what about the second time? We'll deal with that when it happens. For the peace of both of us, maybe it's best if we don't dance." He laughed. "I am Jookung. It doesn't matter if you step on me. So she agreed and took his hand. I'll dance slowly so you can keep up, and you'll have to watch our surroundings for me. Since I can't see, you'll have to help me. I understand. Under the gentle moonlight, the two of them held hands and danced beside the shimmering lake. The night breeze blew softly, and Paula's hair fluttered lightly with each graceful turn. Just when it was all so romantic, Paula suddenly burst out laughing as she thought, if someone saw us right now, with how we look, they'd probably think we were ghosts. Hearing that, Vincent asked, "Why are you laughing?" "I just thought that if someone saw you and me right now, they'd probably scream because they thought they'd seen ghosts." "That's possible." Then he praised her. "You dance well." She answered modestly, "That's because you teach well." "So, it's thanks to the teacher?" "No, it's because the student is excellent." Vincent gently let go of her hand. Paula spun once, then took his hand again. He teased, "How arrogant." "Arrogance is part of my charm." The two kept talking without noticing that their steps had brought them close to the water. So that's why you dare raise your voice in front of me?" "Thanks to your generosity, master." Before Paula could even finish speaking, there was a loud splash, and the two of them fell together into the cold lake. Vincent cried helplessly. Paula quickly said, "I'm sorry. I got distracted, and that's why I let you." At that point, she looked up and found Vincent's face right in front of hers. Then the two of them burst out laughing. A little later, she brought Vincent back to his room. She asked, "Do you want me to stay by your side until you fall asleep?" "No, get out. Don't force yourself to endure it and then cry later. This is your last chance to turn back. Don't need to throw you out myself." All right. You really do have a temper." "Sweet dreams." "You too." Paula stepped out of Vincent's room, water dripping from her body and soaking the floor. She slowly returned to her own room, and as soon as the door opened, she saw a figure standing inside. Startled, she called out, "Miss Violet." Violet frowned and asked, "Where did you go?" Paula answered, "I just went for a walk." "Paula, were you alone? Or was it the two of you? Did you go with Vincent?" Paula nervously clenched her hands. She stayed silent, unable to answer, and Violet took that as confirmation. "I see." Suddenly she lowered her head and said nothing more. Only then did Paula say, "Miss Violet?" "And no, it's nothing. Hurry and change, then go to sleep." After changing, Paula got into bed and glanced quietly at Violet, who had turned away from her. Then Violet called softly, "Paula." "Yes, Miss Violet?" "You know, I feel like I'm a truly pathetic person." "Huh? No, not at all. Why would you say that? There are many people with beautiful faces, but someone with a beautiful soul like yours is rare." Miss Violet. "Ha. Paula, you really are a kind person." "It's all thanks to you, Miss Violet." "Me? Yes. You've always treated someone as lowly as a servant like me with kindness. Because of you, I had the chance to wear a beautiful dress, attend a party, and dance. And most importantly, you told me that even though I had nothing of worth, you still liked me. I'm truly grateful, because it was the first time I'd ever heard words like that." "Miss Violet, are you angry with me?" "No, not at all." She turned back and said, "I'm not angry." Paula thought, but why do her eyes look so sad when she looks at me? Did I do something wrong? Goodness, I told you I'm not angry. Then what is it? Maybe because I just woke up and my mood is still low. "Paula, may I ask you for one thing?" "Yes, please tell me." Violet took Paula's hand, and tears quietly rolled down her cheeks. "Don't fall in love with Vincent. If there ever comes a time when you feel you might love him, if you ever feel that way, then run far away." Paula froze for a few seconds, thinking, I should tell her this is a misunderstanding. Violet spoke again. "I truly hope Paula can be happy. I want to wish for your happiness. But that person couldn't be. He wasn't the one meant for her." Paula told herself she should deny it. At that, Violet gently closed her eyes. Only then did Paula finally answer, "All right, I'll do that." She thought to herself, "I've never been greedy enough to want anything for myself. Even the things I once held in my arms always slipped away like sand, leaving behind nothing but emptiness. I only want to live one more day, if possible, to live a long life." Lady Violet's request isn't difficult at all. How could I ever dare love my master? That's ridiculous. Right, of course. It isn't difficult at all. Just then, a voice interrupted her thoughts. "Vincent right now." He stopped short when he saw Paula. "My lady, Sir Ethan isn't in his room, is he? Where's Vincent?" "He just went for a walk in the forest behind the estate with Lady Violet. I wonder when they'll be back. If possible, it'd be better if they stayed out a little longer." "Why?" "Milady, you don't know, but..." The two of them looked down through the window at the same time and saw a group of people entering the annex. Ethan cursed angrily. Damn it. Paula's eyes widened in surprise. Somehow, the atmosphere felt strange. The two hurried downstairs, just as Isabella arrived. Ethan shook his head, signaling that Vincent wasn't in his room. Only then did she let out a relieved sigh. Isabella asked, "What do we do now?" "First, I'll buy us some time." Paula wondered to herself, what on earth is going on? She moved to go see for herself, but Lucas grabbed her by the arm. "Sir Lucas, are you all right? You don't look so well." He hurriedly pulled her along. "Quick, this way." Then she caught sight of that group. She gasped inwardly. That man, James Christopher. The two of them quickly ran out through the back door of the estate. Paula asked anxiously, "Sir Lucas, are you really all right?" "I am just a little startled, that's all." He sat down, trying to steady himself. Then he called out, "Paula." She answered yes. Suddenly he said, "Let's leave everything behind and run away." "Would you throw everything away and run with me?" "Could you do that, Paula? Run somewhere far away, where no one knows us." Paula was startled. He looked deeply uneasy. She slowly pulled her hand out of Lucas's grasp. Seeing that, he lowered his head and said, "Sorry. I'm sorry for springing that on you so suddenly." "Oh no, it's all right. Did you see James just now?" "Yes. I thought he might come, but I never expected he actually would. James is my eldest brother, and to be honest, I'm terrified of him." James Christopher, Paula thought. My former master used to be very afraid of him too. A cold man, like a venomous snake. Lucas continued, "I thought I could face him, but when I actually saw him again, I was so afraid I had to run. I was too scared to go alone, so I drag you with me." Pretty pathetic, isn't it? If that's pathetic, then my master probably wouldn't even dare show his face in public anymore. Aha, that's why I want to leave. Throw everything away and go somewhere far, where no one knows me. "Paula, will you come with me?" She hesitated before answering about that. "Not now. Maybe someday later. Right now, I still have things I need to do." Suddenly, Lucas asked, "Paula, do you like Vincent?" She startled and answered no. "I could never possibly feel that way. You don't have to hide it. At the very least, your heart has been stirred, hasn't it? I hope you'll give up on him, Paula, because I'm sure it'll only end in pain." "Why are you telling me this?" Lucas placed something in her hand. "Because I like you, Paula." "Paula, I meant what I said earlier about running away. I like you. I want to leave with you." Her voice trembled as she replied, "That's impossible. Someone like me. Why? There's no reason." Lucas suddenly cried out, "You don't need a reason to love someone. At first, I was just curious and wanted to meet you. Then being with you made me happy. Little by little, I wanted you to always stay by my side. It was through those feelings that I fell in love with you." Lucas confessed, "I love you." While Paula hesitated, Lucas interrupted and asked, "Can your answer wait until later?" "Not now. Someday later." Paula fell silent for a moment, when Ethan suddenly opened the door and said, "Lucas, James is calling for you." Hearing that, he slowly stood and turned to go back inside. Before leaving, Lucas glanced back at Paula. Ethan noticed and quietly looked over at her as well. A little later, "HM, why is everyone gathered here?" "Violet, Marquis Margaret has arrived." "Father is here? Why would father come all the way here?" "Go on up first. He's waiting in the drawing room." "Yes, I'll go right away." "Maid, would you come with me?" Paula answered, "Ah, yes." With that, she hurried after Violet. Vincent was about to call her back, but Ethan stopped him. "Vincent, come out here for a moment." Violet asked in confusion, "Why did father suddenly come without saying a word? What on earth is going on?" "Paula, do you know anything?" "I haven't been told the full situation either." How strange. The moment she finished speaking, she exclaimed in surprise, "Father." "Oh, nurse, why are you here too?" The Marquis coldly ordered, "Take her away." The nurse immediately stepped forward and said to Violet, "Come along, my lady." "What? We're leaving already? Didn't you come because something happened?" Without saying a word, the Marquis turned to leave, but then his face twisted with anger, the corner of his mouth curling with contempt. He strode over to Vincent and suddenly drove his fist into his face. Ethan cried out, "Vincent!" The Marquis shouted furiously, "Do you think I'm a joke? Do you take my family lightly? You dare hide the fact that you're blind. Did you really think you could still marry her like this? My daughter lacks for nothing. So why should she have to serve a man like you? What can a man with no future in sight possibly do? No wonder we haven't seen you lately. What was it, injured and recovering? Did you despise my daughter so much that you made up lies like that?" He ordered, "Take her home. The engagement is off. There will be no more discussion." "Father, I don't want to break off the engagement. I love Vincent. It's because you keep acting like this that he dared refuse to cancel it." "No, that's not." He barked her name loudly. "Violet." Suddenly Vincent spoke up. "I will do as you say. I will break off the engagement." Violet ran over and pleaded with him, trembling, "Vincent, don't do this. I only need you." "Enough, Violet. If you marry me, you'll be isolated. Everything you cherish will be taken from you. You'll spend your whole life beside a blind husband, serving me, unable to keep ties with your family or anyone else. Wherever you go, people will stare at you and label you as the woman who married a blind man. And even if you are hurt, I won't notice it. I won't be able to protect you. That's what life with me would be like. Can you really live that kind of life?" She stammered, unable to form proper words. "Vincent, all I want is for Violet to live a happy life. So this is enough. Go home." At that, the nurse came to lead her away. Violet turned back and cried out, "Vincent." The Marquis said, "I trust you will keep your word. What you did, deceiving me, is unforgivable. But for the sake of the relationship between our families, I'll let it end here this time. Don't ever come near my daughter again." Paula hurried over to Vincent's side, but the sudden sound of applause made her stop and turn around. James was clapping as he said, "Quite a spectacle." Paula frowned at him and thought, "My master's condition was carefully hidden all this time, and now it's been exposed. It's because of him. James Christopher." He started toward Paula, but Ethan quickly stepped in front of her. "Brother, are you leaving now?" "Yes. There's no reason for me to stay any longer. If only I'd been able to entertain you more properly." "What a shame." Paula helped Vincent to his feet and whispered, "Master, let's go back to your room." Paula thought, "I knew it. As a servant, I shouldn't dare meet the eyes of someone of such status. But still, the intention behind all this is so obvious." "That wretched bastard." James frowned as if about to say something, but Ethan cut in first. "James, where did you leave your carriage? I'll see you out. Come on." He answered reluctantly, "Fine." Before leaving, Ethan turned and looked back. With his expression alone, he seemed to say, "For the sake of a maid, I might not survive this." Paula lowered her head. "I'm sorry." After that day, Master shut himself in his room once again. Paula was asleep when she suddenly jolted upright. She hurried to Vincent's room. "Master, may I come in?" His voice came from inside. "I'm Euphine. Go back." She lightly touched the door. "If you're tired, please call for me anytime." The next morning, Vincent finished his meal in his room. He said, "Stop staring. My face keeps throbbing." "Don't worry. I'm really fine." Paula looked at him and thought grimly, "He's going about things as usual, no different from any other day. But somehow that only makes me more uneasy. It's like he'd long known this moment would come." After that, Ethan set off to return home. "Please take care of Vincent for me. Don't worry. I'm very confident when it comes to looking after Master." Ethan broke into a bright smile, put on his hat, and said, "Violet. Violet is the strongest out of all of us, so don't worry too much. She'll recover quickly. Yes, of all the people I've met, Violet is the most wonderful." "Huh? The most wonderful of everyone you know? Does that include me too?" She answered plainly, "Of course. Take care, Paula." She waved goodbye as the carriage disappeared into the distance. She finally lowered her hand. Later, as she was walking down the corridor, someone called, "Paula." She turned back and asked, "Where are you going, Sir Lucas?" "I'm planning to head back tomorrow too. He had business, so he left first. I should start preparing to leave as well." She asked, "Are you really all right?" She thought at that time, Sir Lucas looked so miserable. And Lucas's confession, "I love you." She flinched, right? That's not something I should forget so easily. The air between them became awkward. Lucas gave a light laugh and said, "I'm fine. Thank you for worrying about me. Still, hearing that you're leaving soon, I really do feel sorry to hear it." "Really? Then spend a day with me." "Today?" "Yes. Today, give me your time, Paula. Since today is the last day." So the two of them went into town together. Paula stared at the bustling streets in amazement. "Wow, it's my first time seeing such a big village. It's so lively. This is the biggest village in the area. Take your time looking around." Just then, two children came running up ahead, laughing and shouting to each other. They raced by without looking and nearly crashed into Paula. She stepped aside in alarm and cried out, "Ah!" Lucas immediately caught her by the shoulders and pulled her toward him. Softly he said, "Paula, over here." Embarrassed, her eyes went wide. Lucas warned her, "There are a lot of people, so don't get lost." "Ah, why yes, you're right." Just as Sir Lucas said, the streets really were rather confusing, and besides, today was their last day. The two of them continued weaving through the crowd and strolling around the village. Calls from vendors rang out around them. Come, take your time looking around." That voice caught Paula's attention. She looked over curiously and exclaimed, "So many people are gathered there. If you're curious, shall we go take a look?" So the two of them walked over to the stall, and the shopkeeper greeted them enthusiastically. "Oh my, welcome. This is a jewelry stall. Paula looked over everything and couldn't help admiring it. Wow, everything is beautiful. Suddenly, Lucas quickly picked up a hairpin and gently fixed it in her hair before asking, "What about this one?" Paula was startled by the gesture, her heart pounding harder. Lucas murmured, "Beautiful. I picked it because I thought it would suit you, Paula, and it really does." His praise embarrassed her so much that her face flushed bright red. She looked away and stammered, "Thank you, sir." The shopkeeper chimed in, "You've got a good eye. Since you're such a cute couple, I'll give you a special price." Lucas brightened and asked, "Really?" Standing beside him, she said awkwardly, Wait a minute. What couple? That's not it at all. Please don't buy it, Sir Lucas." "Why not? I just want to give it to you, Paula. Just looking at it is enough to make me happy." "I'm very grateful for the thought." He patiently tried to persuade her. "I truly want to give it to you. I'm really all right." Then Paula quickly changed the subject. Aren't you hungry? Let's go eat." Lucas let out a sigh. "If it's food you're after, I know a good place." At the mention of food, her energy suddenly returned at once. "Really? Then let's go right away. Please lead the way, sir." "But you accepted Violet's gift, didn't you, Paula?" "For me, your thoughtfulness is already more than enough." Sometime later, the two arrived at a restaurant to enjoy a meal. He watched her eat and asked, "Well, does it suit your taste?" "Of course. This is the first time I've ever eaten something this delicious. Hearing that makes me happy. I think this dish is good too. Try it." "Ah, thank you, sir." Before long, the table was filled with all kinds of unusual dishes. "This one too, and this one. Ah, try this as well. If there's anything else you want, just order it, Paula." Overwhelmed by his enthusiasm, she answered, "Yes, sir." After tasting dish after dish, the two left the restaurant in high spirits. Lucas asked softly, "Was it good?" "Yes, it was delicious. It's a shame there was so much left over, but thanks to you, I got to eat to my heart's content." "That's a relief. It makes me happy to see you eat so well. You seem to be enjoying yourself earlier. Is there anywhere else you want to go? Tell me." Paula saw Lucas extend his hand toward her. She quickly placed her hand in his. "I just want to walk around the village with you a little longer. I don't mind where we go. Before you leave, I want to go as many places as possible." Her gesture warmed Lucas's heart. He clasped Paula's hand tightly and replied with a bright smile, "All right, then let's keep walking." And so Lucas and I went all over the village. We even tried street food I normally never would have eaten. We wandered aimlessly and ended up getting lost. Paula sat on a bench, feeling terribly guilty and blaming herself. But when she lifted her eyes, a familiar figure appeared before her. Lucas was breathing hard, as if he'd been running around searching for her for a long time. Even so, we kept laughing, as though even exhaustion had become something joyful. At least for this moment, I tried my best to push away all the tangled thoughts in my heart. I have to try, because if I don't, the sorrow of things I can't hold on to will torment both me and him again. And I don't want that, at least not now. The day was already drawing to a close. Lucas said, "Paula, thanks to you, I truly had a wonderful time today." I did too. But inside, her heart was dancing. I really did have such a good time. I've been sad so often lately, but today soothed me so much. Still, once Sir Lucas leaves, the manor will probably feel very quiet, won't it? What a pity. Thinking that, Paula lowered herself in a bow. "Now I have to prepare dinner, so I'll be going ahead." With that, she quickly turned away, leaving Lucas standing there, reluctant to let her go. He gently parted his lips and called Paula. Hearing her name, she slowly turned back. "Yes, Sir Lucas." "Paula, I mean it sincerely." He smiled, stayed silent for a moment, then continued, "I won't be able to forget this moment. I will never forget this moment." After saying that, Lucas smiled again. She thought, what a relief. Sir Lucas really did get to spend some happy time today. If someday we can have another bright day like this, then I hope Master and Milady will be there together too. With that thought, she replied, "I feel the same, Sir Lucas." Later, in his room, he lay on the bed and said irritably enough. Paula could only coax him helplessly. "Just one bite." But Master stubbornly refused. "I really have no appetite. I want to sleep. Please leave." Hearing that, she could only fall silent. "Then I'll leave it on the bedside table. Eat it whenever you feel hungry." Even after stepping out of the room, she still couldn't stop worrying and looked back inside once more. He was still lying motionless on the bed. The light from outside gradually narrowed. His whole body sank into shadow. She stepped forward and drew the curtains shut, worry filling her heart. Could it be that Sir Lucas still hasn't returned? He said he wasn't leaving today. She stopped in front of her room and softly called out, "Sir Lucas, are you in there?" I'm opening the door. Seeing that no one was in the room, she wondered in confusion. How strange. The luggage is still here, so he must not have left the estate yet. Could he still be in the village? It's already this late, and he still hasn't come back? Suddenly, something caught her eye. It was a pool of blood. In confusion, she reached out to touch it. What is this? At once, she nearly froze in shock. Her face turned pale as she thought in panic. Teach, this is blood. A trail of dark red blood stretched ahead of her. Why is this here? No way. Could it be? Terrified, she hurried after the bloodstains. Still drowning in fear, she kept thinking, no, it can't be, it can't. Trembling, she lifted the lamp and moved forward. Then she saw a familiar figure lying motionless on the ground. She recognized him instantly. In panic, she threw away the lamp in her hand and cried out, "Oh my God, Lord Lucas! Lord Lucas! Are you all right? Please wake up." A faint voice was the only response to her call. Paula. Trembling, she asked, what happened? What happened here? Too weak to even say her name properly, he murmured, Paula. Yes, it's me, Lord Lucas. What on earth happened? A tear slipped from the corner of Lucas's eye. It seemed he still wanted to say something, but only a faint groan escaped him before his eyes slowly closed. Seeing that, she cried out in tears, "Lord Lucas, no, don't fall asleep. Please wake up. What do I do?" The blood won't stop. Suddenly, he shakily placed his hand over hers. Paula, I was waiting for a reply." Hearing that, she was momentarily stunned. A reply, at the estate, in the coldness only Paula's letters had ever brought. "Spring to me." She seemed to realize something and thought, could it be the gold lettering? Was that letter sent by Lord Lucas? Before she knew it, tears were already streaming down her face. Her voice kept trembling. "Every day He raised a hand and gently caressed her cheek. "I waited for the letters Paula sent." He seemed to want to say more, but then he lost consciousness. Panicked, she shouted, Lord Lucas, is anyone there? Someone has collapsed here. Please help. Don't fall asleep. Don't fall asleep. Please don't sleep. Please, my lord, don't." "Me too. I was so happy to receive your reply as well. When you come back, I'll write to you again." Her hands were shaking violently now. "So please, don't fall asleep. My lord." With the last of his strength, he tried to call her name. Suddenly, he saw the figure of a man silently watching them. His eyes turned frantic, unclear whether it was fear or alarm. Then he forced himself to speak. Paula, I'm here." The mysterious man had begun walking toward them. She instantly noticed the faint sound. Footsteps. Then he tightly gripped her hand and urged her to run. "Hurry, run. Paula, get away from him. Paula." The air around them suddenly grew heavy, and that dreadful sound rang out more clearly. Sitting there in a daze, Paula thought, "I'm so scared. I can't move. Please, someone save me." He continued warning her, "Run from my brother. Paula, if you see him, run. That's the only way to protect yourself. Go. Hurry and run." It seemed Paula could no longer really hear what he was saying, because she was sinking into the dark, chaotic memories of her life when her younger sister humiliated her. Don't do anything. That's what an older sister should do. And when that large man cursed at her, "You useless thing." And when Paula was mocked with sneering laughter, "At least your face is worth something. If it weren't for that barely passable outer shell of yours, would you even still be alive?" But then, like a ray of light in her dark life, there had been that moment when he said, "I like Paula. I want you to come with me." Paula's body trembled nonstop, tears pouring down her face. She was terrified, wanted nothing more than to run away at once, but, "I can't leave you here alone. I can't abandon you." In the pitch-black silent night, carrying him on her back, she cried out in anguish, "Help! Someone is hurt." No one around answered. Helplessly sobbing, she pleaded, "Someone please. Help us." Then suddenly the scene before her blurred. Out of nowhere, someone called to her, "Sis." Startled, she whipped her head around. A hazy figure appeared and comforted her. "It's okay, sis. It's okay." Her mind shook violently. What am I supposed to do now? I can't even remember that smiling face anymore. The only thing I could do was remember, and even that I couldn't do. Then a man suddenly appeared, sitting arrogantly in a chair as he looked at her and reminded her, I told you already. This isn't a place for daydreaming. Paula suffered inwardly. Even if you didn't say it, I know I can't do anything. The image of that man's blood-covered face struck her eyes. He had said, "This moment, I will never forget it." The person who always smiled at me so gently. The person who once said he liked me. And yet Paula suddenly jolted awake from the nightmare. She gasped in fear without stopping, clutching her aching chest as she tried to speak. Beside her, Vincent frowned as he looked at her. "You're awake?" Paula's eyes immediately fixed on Vincent. Under his bewildered gaze, Paula grabbed his arm tightly. In terror, she kept crying out, "Lord Lucas! Lord Lucas!" Vincent was a little surprised by her reaction. Lucas is still alive. The moment she heard that, Paula suddenly felt relieved, and her body immediately collapsed into Vincent's arms. Alive. He's really alive. Lord Lucas is still alive. Vincent gently soothed her trembling body. "It's all right." Sobbing, Paula choked out, "I thought he was going to die. I thought he was going to die." The wound was so severe. Blood. So much blood was coming out. Vincent frowned in confusion. "What? Was that scream just now yours?" "Yes. I was hoping someone would hear it and come help." "What about the attacker? Did you see him?" "No, I didn't. I ran before I could see clearly." "And did he see you?" "I'm not sure either. We were under the moonlight then, so he may have." All at once, Ethan kicked the door open and charged in, shouting, "Vincent!" Vincent suddenly froze. Without another word, Ethan grabbed Vincent by the shoulders and demanded through gritted teeth, "Vincent, tell me now. Tell me the truth. Was it James, my brother, who blinded you? Was he targeting you from the very beginning?" "No, James was after Lucas." Hearing that, Ethan stared blankly. "What?" After a moment, Vincent's low voice rang out. "Lucas witnessed James kill father." Even though Lucas promised to keep it secret, James couldn't believe him. Ethan looked as if he couldn't believe his ears. Trembling, he said, "James killed father? And he even tried to kill Lucas? The one who witnessed it?" Though he didn't want to admit it, Vincent could only nod and answer honestly, "That's right." His eyes were filled with pain and despair. "It's just that instead of Lucas, I was the one who lost my sight. From the start, James intended to kill Lucas." After several stunned seconds, Ethan stammered, "So James did all of it. Father's murder, what happened to Lucas? Everything was a lie." Ethan slowly lifted his head to look at Vincent. Then he turned and left resolutely. Vincent called after him in worry, "Ethan, please understand Lucas." He couldn't say it because he was worried about you. "To Lucas, both of you are precious brothers, you and James." "Then what about you? Why didn't you say anything?" "I didn't want you to have to kill your own brother. Both Lucas and I were worried about that. You love father very much. If you learned the truth, then surely you would. With your own hands." Ethan suddenly let out a cold laugh. The door slammed shut. Staggering, Vincent shouted, "Ethan!" But he had already left decisively. Blind, Vincent stumbled and fell to the floor, fortunately caught by Paula. She cried out anxiously, "Master." Wearily, he said, "Go after him. Stop him. Tell him not to do it." "Do what?" "Everything. All of it." Meanwhile, Ethan's solitary figure walked down the cold corridor. Suddenly, a hand grabbed his arm and pulled him back. To his surprise, Paula shouted, "Please don't do it." "Do what?" "Everything. Please stop. You mustn't, my lord. I didn't come here to ask permission. I only wanted to confirm for certain. In truth, I'd suspected it for some time. Even so, I turned away because I thought my brother couldn't possibly do something like that. And this is the result. Even so, please don't do this. Ethan, he tried to kill Lucas, my younger brother. The next one will surely be me or Vincent. He won't stop until he gets everything he wants. Please pass a message to Vincent for me. Tell him I'm sorry." Paula had no choice but to let go of his arm. After that, she returned to the room and opened the door. Hearing the sound, Vincent, who was sitting on the bed, immediately turned toward the door. Paula came close to him. "I'm sorry. I couldn't stop him." His gaze darkened. "I see." He lowered his head onto her shoulder. "It's all right. You don't need to apologize. Paula, pack your things at once." "Yes? I'll send you somewhere else." Why? What did I do wrong? Is it because I couldn't stop Lord Ethan, and that's why you're doing this? It's not that. You're in danger. James definitely knows you were there. It may be fine for now, but sooner or later he'll realize you exist. He won't leave you alone, because you're the only witness. Our family has a villa in Nuven. Go there and rest for a while. When things calm down and I'm certain it's safe, I'll bring you back." Paula immediately refused. "No, I don't want to. Please don't abandon me." "I'm not abandoning you. I'm only sending you somewhere safe for the time being." Paula shook her head in fear. "But that is abandoning me." I can't believe it. What if he forgets about me? What if he feels relieved to be rid of a burden? He wanted to send me away from the very beginning anyway. Suddenly, a strong arm wrapped around her body, and his deep, warm voice sounded beside her. Trust me, I won't abandon you. If you stay by my side, I won't be able to protect you. So at the very least, I want to send you somewhere safe, where you won't be dragged into this any further. I don't want to hurt anyone else anymore. I will definitely bring you back to my side. Promise me. Do you remember what I told you before? Stay by my side, all right? Yes, but you have to keep your promise too. You really mustn't forget me. Tears welled up and fell from her eyes. If you forget me, I'll turn into a ghost and haunt you for the rest of your life. I'm serious. Vincent nodded. I know. The next day, Paula stood above, looking down. Master had ordered that I be sent to the villa in Nuven as quickly as possible, and all the preparations were completed with astonishing speed. During that time, I had nothing to do. Since that day, Lord Ethan had not come, and Lord Lucas was nowhere to be seen either. The estate was terribly quiet. Vincent sat absent-mindedly at his desk, silent as if deep in thought. Then he suddenly made a suggestion to Paula. Shall we go for a walk? Right now? The weather is nice. Don't you like that? No, it's not that I don't like it. Then let's go. In Vincent's room, Paula carefully helped him straighten his clothes. Then she turned to the cane resting on the bed and said, Your cane, my lord. But before she could go get it, he stopped her. No need. You support me. Me? Yes. Why are you still standing there? She was a little worried, but then Paula let out a sigh and quickly took hold of his arm. The two of them went to a garden bathed in golden sunlight. In a low voice, Vincent suggested, How about we go to that place from before? Which place? The one you said was so beautiful it made you want to jump right in. Ah, the place with the field of blooming white flowers? Do you still remember where it is? Paula paused for a moment. More or less. His question brought back Lucas's radiant face in her mind. I know a wonderful place. That made Paula let out a sigh. Vincent comforted her, calm down. Lucas took you there because he wanted to make you happy. Hearing that, Paula could almost see Lucas smiling at her. Hand in hand, the two of them walked to a field in full bloom. Vincent said again, After he left, you stayed at the estate so you could come to this flower field whenever you felt sad. How do you know that? Because Lucas is that kind of person. Come on, I want to take a walk too. Yes, let's go. Something fell from a tree and landed in Vincent's eye. Rubbing it, he asked, What was that? A flower petal, my lord. It's falling like snow. It seems we've arrived, haven't we? At times like this, you're supposed to say, How beautiful. Paula thought to herself, Master is so unromantic. Their hands clasped tightly together as they looked out over the endless field of white flowers. Since Vincent couldn't see it, he asked, Is it really beautiful? Paula nodded at once. Yes, very beautiful. If you think so, that's enough. Paula was suddenly captivated by his appearance. She stared at him and thought, He still has the same cold expression as always. He didn't really want to come to this flower field, did he? Then why did he? Don't tell me. You came here because of me? Vincent turned toward her. Ever since that day, you've looked strangely downcast. Why exactly? Why are you paying attention to something like that? Being this gentle doesn't suit you at all. Thinking that, she timidly pulled her hand away. Vincent's gaze turned cold as he faced Paula, making her whole body tremble in fear. In an indifferent voice, he asked, Are you afraid? I am, Vincent said calmly. So am I. Paula couldn't believe her ears. I thought he'd laugh at me for being such a coward. That made Vincent chuckle aloud. Teasing her, he said, When you get flustered, you really can't get a word out, can you? He reached a hand toward her and softly called, Paula. Soon, I may have to make my condition public. That means it's time for me to get used to people being able to wave knives at me or point guns at me. Maybe that would even be better, because sometimes words kill more cruelly than actions. His hand suddenly clenched, then slowly opened again, revealing a tiny flower petal that had just happened to fall into it. I've always known I can't live like this forever. Because I am the Count, there are people who must bear responsibilities because of me. But I have to admit, I am very afraid too. Right now, just thinking about standing in front of everyone makes my hands tremble uncontrollably. Pitiful, isn't it? She shook her head. No, it's not. Vincent kept his eyes closed. Even if it is pitiful, that's fine. This is who I really am. Paula worried silently. Even though he said it so lightly, I could never fully understand the weight of the responsibility Master is carrying. After Lord Lucas fell ill, I couldn't even live a normal life, while Master always remained steady. Eating, bathing, dressing himself, setting his feet on the floor, and standing up. Facing people he could not see, and preparing for the times he would be forced to appear in person. Master had been silently training himself to live alone. I am not the only one who feels fear. Master must be afraid too. That is why he is trying so hard, working harder than anyone to prepare for this moment. Thinking that, she said, if it becomes too exhausting, it's all right to let go a little sometimes. What are you talking about? You don't need to try for my sake, my lord. Who said I was trying for your sake? Paula sighed inwardly. I was moved, and then he suddenly ruined the mood. I was mistaken. I thought I might be among the people Master feels responsible for. He teased. Aren't you a little too confident? I was only saying it. I don't need you to take responsibility for me. Why not? Because I can take care of myself. I'm good at everything I do, wherever I go. Don't worry about me. Lighten your burden. Don't you think you're being too arrogant? Life isn't that simple. If things don't work out, you die, and that's the end of it. You take death too lightly. In any case, I don't have any reason to live, nor any right to live. I just keep living because I can still breathe, because the sun still rises. I'm alive only because I'm still alive. If I died, no one would grieve for me. My siblings are long gone, and I probably won't be able to see Lord Lucas again either. Even if there were warm and beautiful days, they still can't change this filthy, dust-covered life of mine. In the end, I don't deserve to go on living. You don't need any qualification to live. Vincent added, you only need to live. You were forced to come here by a family you never missed, and you've had to face dangers that could take your life at any moment. So I don't think you grew up sheltered and loved. You must have lived a life full of suffering, but if living requires worth, then you deserve it. You deserve to live. Hearing that, Paula's eyes widened in surprise. This was the first time I had ever heard those words. He said that whenever he thought of us, the one who seemed dried out and worn down wasn't him, but me. Paula thought to herself, determined to smile and say she was fine, that she could keep enduring it. But once again, he easily shattered that resolve. Vincent looked up at the sky and called out, Paula, even so live. Live a happy life. Paula blushed at once. But can I really do that? Can I be happy? Yes, very happy. I will live that way. As soon as she finished speaking, she lowered her head and tears poured out. I will definitely live that way. No one has ever told me that I had the right to live. I survived while my loved ones had to sacrifice themselves, and I kept thinking it would be selfish of me to still dare to dream. Even though I always wished to live one more day, I never dared to wish for happiness. And yet Master told me, keep living. Thank you, sir. I wonder if I can become like you. Can I become someone who shines with her own light? Can I keep walking through hell on my own, like you do? At that point, she asked, will there ever come a day when I'll feel lucky to still be alive? Vincent immediately replied, there will. Paula laughed softly and asked, really? Meanwhile, Vincent lowered his face and gently closed his eyes, then stepped forward. Paula hurried after him. Master, where are you going? He said, don't follow me. Stay there. Paula could only stop and watch him. Vincent continued on by himself through the flower petals. His feet kept moving forward. Then he suddenly stopped, slightly lifted his head, and breathed in the fresh air, then turned back toward Paula. After that, he returned to where she was standing. The sunlight dazzled Paula's eyes, and she had to raise a hand to shield them. She called out, Master. She gasped in shock. My goodness. When Vincent returned to his original spot on his own, without any help, his gaze lowered as if he could see everything clearly, and his hand slowly reached out, then suddenly touched and wrapped around Paula's shoulder. In her astonishment, he smiled and asked, well, excited, she said loudly, Master, actually, you can see, can't you? I practiced a lot, you know. I thought you were only practicing walking with Kane. I never imagined you'd also been practicing walking by yourself. Weren't you afraid of falling? Of course I was. But I've learned how to overcome that fear. How? He placed her hand against his face. I think that even if I fall, I only need to get back up. You were the one who said that before, weren't you? You said to imagine that I was adventuring in the dark, and that because of that, I had to be brave. Words that sounded absurd at first weren't bad at all. Even if I lose my way in the darkness and collapse, I only need to get back up and keep walking as if nothing happened. All I have to do is change the way I think. What matters is that I reach the end of the road. He lowered his head until it touched her forehead and asked, isn't that right? She answered, yes, that's right. I'll do as you said, so you should do the same. You said you would stay by my side forever, didn't you? No matter how many times I tried to drive you away, you insisted on saving others no matter what. And if you couldn't save them, then you'd stay together forever. Thinking back on it now, really, you haven't changed at all. You've always been this insolent. Hearing that, Paula suddenly burst into laughter. There's no helping it, sir. That's just who I am. After that, the two of them returned to the mansion. Paula smiled as she looked at him and thought to herself, now truly, there was no longer a man trembling in fear inside that room. From now on, both Master's body and spirit would become much healthier. As if sensing her gaze, he asked, "What is it? Don't you feel lucky to still be alive? You even get to look at beautiful scenery too." Paula thought helplessly, calling himself beautiful scenery. What kind of thoughtful gesture was that? She really didn't know where to hide her face. But just as Master said, even if only for a brief moment, being able to see him walking on his own, seeing that he had not given up, I was truly happy for that. With that thought, she smiled brightly and replied yes. By evening, Paula stood there deep in thought. Even though it had only been a short walk, I was so glad I got to talk with Master. From trivial little matters to memories of the past, we reminisced together like that and tied our times together. It was the first time I felt reluctant about having to part soon. Paula was pulled from her thoughts when she heard someone call, "Paula." She turned around and cried out in surprise. "Renika, what happened to your face? Did something happen?" "No, nothing happened. That face doesn't look like nothing happened at all." "Come here, Renika. Can't you tell me what's going on? I may not be able to help much, but I can listen. If you get it off your chest, you might feel a little better." Paula kept gently reassuring her. "It's all right. Whatever you tell me now, I'll keep it secret." Renika hesitated and asked, I heard, "You're leaving soon. Is that true?" "Yes, but only temporarily." "Is it really only temporary?" Paula inwardly wondered, "What do you mean, really?" "Paula, we haven't known each other long, but I know you're a good person. At the very least, I can see that you always work seriously and you're not the type to act spoiled." "Why are you saying that?" "What I'm trying to say is, don't trust anyone in this place." A few days ago, a maid and a servant disappeared. Renika told me what had happened not long ago. Among the servants in the villa, there was a couple secretly involved with each other, and they chose the annex, the area no one was allowed to enter, as their meeting place. Unfortunately, they were discovered. In the end, both of them disappeared overnight. The reason entrance to the annex is so strictly forbidden is to hide Master's secret. If someone were to enter the place where Master stays without permission, and it was found out, Renika said, "I saw some suspicious people with their faces covered around that area, and this was left behind right where they disappeared. This is the bracelet that Maid always wore. She said her mother had made it for her. She really was a very good person. I don't know who did something so terrible to them." Paula thought to herself, there was no need to say it aloud. Everyone knew who had done it, but it couldn't possibly have been Master. If it really was him, there's no way I wouldn't know. "Then who gave the order?" Renika asked. "Do you understand now, Paula? Our every action, every step we take, is being watched. Absolutely don't let yourself stand out. Don't become special. Keep your head down and follow the rules, just like the other servants. That's the only way we can survive in this place. We're the lowest class here. Even if we die, no one would ever know. Never, ever forget that." The next day, Paula stood there, her dress fluttering. She stood still and looked through the window at the person standing inside the room. She remembered what Vincent had said. "I won't see you off." "Why not?" "Because we'll meet again. I don't want to act as if this is a permanent farewell." Paula pulled her hat lower and thought to herself, that's right. I'm only leaving for a short while, not saying goodbye forever. At that moment, the carriage arrived, and Isabella quickly said, "Please get in, Paula." Very soon, the carriage departed as well. Inside were Paula and Isabella. She silently looked at the woman, remembering Renika's warning. What I'm trying to say is, don't trust anyone in this place. Don't trust anything. So does that mean I shouldn't trust Master either? No. Master promised he would bring me back to the villa, that he would definitely find me. Thinking back to the first day she came here, everything had seemed new and wondrous. Master's difficult personality had made things hard for her more than once. After that, she met Master's guests and even tried to fit into their world. So many things had happened, but now all of it would become unforgettable memories. I wonder how Master will live while I'm gone. At that point, Paula hesitantly asked Isabella, will a new maid come to replace me? The woman answered, I will be the one to look after him. Surprised, Paula asked, Lady Isabella? Yes. Master ordered that there is no need to find another maid. She quietly recalled Master saying, I will bring you back to my side. Master really meant it. He truly wanted to bring me back. I've already started missing the annex. Because she was tired, Paula fell asleep without even realizing it. When she rubbed her eyes and woke up, the sky was already pitch black. She wondered if they had arrived, but suddenly she couldn't see Isabella anywhere. Only the basket remained. Just then, Isabella called from outside. "Get out of the carriage, Paula." Hearing that, Paula did as she was told and got out. She asked in confusion, "Where is this?" "The forest near the Ben Lunita estate." "Huh." "Master said I was going to Nuven. Why are we still?" Suddenly she froze, her eyes shifting toward the coachman. Isabella called out coldly, "Paula, do you know why you were only allowed to stay in the annex? Why there were only a few of the closest servants around you? Do you know the reason?" At that moment, Paula abruptly remembered Renika's warning. Don't let yourself stand out. Don't become special. Isabella continued, "It was to prepare for times like this. Someone will be coming soon to take you away." Paula asked, "You don't mean Master, do you?" Isabella shook her head. "We act on Master's orders, but managing the servants is also within our authority. Why are you treating me like this? You know very well what I've done. During the time Master was with me, he changed. You can't possibly have failed to notice that I played a part in that." Suddenly, Isabella said, "It's because Master acted for your sake. The fact that Master was moved by a lowly servant is not a good sign. The butler judged that your existence could become a problem later." Paula was stunned. The butler? Could it be that from the very beginning, he brought me here to prepare for this moment? The thick stack of gold in the gift package was the price of my life. All of a sudden, Isabella stepped forward and grabbed her hand, making Paula flinch and struggle. "Wait," but instead, Isabella shoved a money pouch into her hand. Startled, Paula asked this. "That money should be enough for you to live on for a while." "Ma'am, this is—" She looked toward the unconscious coachman. Below him, a teacup was rolling across the ground. "This is all I can do for you." Isabella said, "Run away, Paula." She stared in shock, wondering, what did she just say? "Paula, I'm truly grateful to you. Master was comforted because of you." He found the smile he had lost again. He came out of his room. He met his friends again. "As a servant of the Ben Lunita family, I offer you my thanks. WY, you shouldn't be doing this. It's true that if this is discovered, even my own life won't be safe. But why?" Isabella fell silent for a moment, then called her name. "Paula, you've done more than enough. This is my repayment to you. Run as far away as you can." Paula didn't answer. She only lowered her head as tears streamed down. "There's no time left. Go quickly, and please don't ever come back." She picked up her suitcase, bent deeply, and said, "Thank you, Isabella." Then she ran as fast as she could, even though she had no idea where she was going. She panted, terrified. Footsteps. Someone was chasing her. She remembered what Isabella had said. "Someone will be coming soon to take you away. They can't let you live because you're the only witness." Was that the person Isabella meant? Or someone sent by James? How did everything end up like this? What am I even doing now? All those days I struggled to survive, if only for one more day. In an instant, everything had pushed me into danger. Suddenly, she tripped over a stone. Her whole body pitched forward and she fell to the ground. She suppressed the pain, hurriedly got back up, and kept running. "Please save me. Someone, please save me." She ran across the road, and suddenly a carriage came rushing in. Right after that, all Paula saw was darkness. She vaguely heard someone calling, "Hey, miss." Maid. Her vision was blurred, and the person supporting her looked like some dangerous villain. Frightened, she struggled and screamed, "Let go of me." But then she froze at once because that person was Ethan. He called out, "Maid. I'm sorry. I was just in a hurry. Are you all right? You don't look well." Paula got up and stepped back warily. Ethan looked surprised at that. "Maid," she shouted, "don't come near me. Why are you so frightened?" She looked around and thought, "I've run this far, and I'm still not out of the annex grounds." Ethan stepped closer again and called Maid. Suddenly, both of them looked toward the source of a sound. Paula trembled in fear. "No, this is bad. He's caught up too fast." With no other choice, she could only plead, "Lord Ethan, please save me." Those words shocked him greatly. He gently held out his hand. "It's all right. Trust me." Inside the carriage, Ethan asked, "What exactly happened? What was that just now? You looked like you were running away." She trembled in fear and didn't answer. Ethan guessed, "Really?" Paula lowered her head and said, "I have my reasons." "What happened with Vincent? Were you driven out?" "No, please don't ask anything. Just let me off somewhere along the way, I beg you." Suddenly he asked, "Is this because of James?" "I heard it from Vincent. You were there at the scene that day." Paula looked at the driver and thought, "Is it really okay to talk about this here?" Ethan understood at once and reassured her. It's fine. He's someone you can trust, so you don't need to worry. If that's the case, that's a relief. Paula was surprised when Ethan said, "Sorry, it may sound ridiculous to say it only now, but the truth is, I already knew James was connected to Father's death. I deceived myself into believing my brother couldn't possibly do something so cruel. Even though I knew he had changed, I still tried to trust him, because I respected him and cared for him, even though we aren't related by blood." She was stunned. Not related by blood? What do you mean? James was the child brought along by Father's second wife. Outsiders thought he was Father's illegitimate son, but in truth he was the child of that second wife and her former fiancé. Even though they weren't related by blood, my father truly loved James. He acknowledged him as his son, so he wouldn't be treated differently, and even allowed James to inherit the family. But he was always insecure. Because I was the true blood heir, even if he became Count, he still thought he wasn't fully acknowledged. Outsiders kept pressuring Father, saying the family should be inherited only by pure blood, and because of that he began to be wary of me. I never had any intention of taking his place, and yet I never imagined he would harm Father, and then do that to Lucas and Vincent. I had hoped it wasn't true. I truly had. My beloved father died, my admirable younger brother was harmed, and my closest friend went blind and shut himself away. Ethan was heartbroken and full of regret after learning those things. Could I have stopped James before everything happened? If only I hadn't tried so hard to deny the truth back then and had faced him directly. Paula looked at him, his head lowered by the carriage window, and said, "But, Lord Christopher, is it really okay for you to tell me all this?" He looked up and said, "Do you know? People say there's an artificial forest in the capital, one that only royalty and a few nobles are allowed to enter. People go there to confess secrets they can't tell anyone else, so everyone calls it the Forest of Secrets. Maid, you are like that forest to us, calm, gentle, and discreet, making it easy for people to pour out their secrets. Even I just told you something I've never told anyone. So think carefully. Why we tell our secrets to a maid like you? Because we trust you? No, it's because you could be disposed of at any time. Vincent told you his secrets partly because he thought that if necessary, he could simply kill you. As for Violet, she's too naive to think that far ahead. But at least that's what I thought. Are you disappointed? No, Paula told herself. I knew it. A secret should stay a secret. Too much curiosity only brings disaster. She asked, "Are you going to kill me, my lord?" "What do you think?" She replied, "I think you're going to kill me." Ethan gave a slight nod. Even though she had expected it, Paula remained calm. I've thought this over for a long time, but since this is the last time, I'll tell you one more thing. It would be too pitiful if it were never passed on. He was innocent by nature, so he was never good at hiding his feelings." "Why, yes, what do you mean, my lord?" Lucas likes you. You knew, didn't you?" "Yes, I knew that very well. Lucas has been frail since childhood. He often had seizures, so he rarely left his room. We cared for him, so we often exchanged letters with him, and Lucas took great joy in writing back. One day, Father bought him colored ink, and after that he used it to write his letters. Violet received letters in purple ink, I got red ink, and Vincent got yellow ink. When I met Vincent again, after we had lost contact for some time, Lucas asked me about you. That was when I realized Lucas was still sending letters to Vincent, and that you were the one writing the replies in his place. Do you remember? Back then, you asked me what kind of ink I used. Since then, I told Lucas a few things about you. They were only trivial stories, but he listened so attentively and happily. Now, I understand that feeling. When Vincent disappeared too, and Lucas was left all alone. Hearing that, tears began to fall from Paula's eyes. Luca. So he knew from the very beginning. He knew the one writing the letters was me. That's why his eyes were always so gentle. She remembered Lucas's soft words. "Have you been well? The weather here is lovely. It makes me want to travel again." At that point, she hesitantly asked, "My lord, Lord Lucas, how is Lord Lucas now?" They said he needed time to prepare himself mentally. She broke down, sobbing. I'm sorry, Lord Lucas." The sincere words and courage that took you so much effort to finally speak. What if you threw everything away and ran away with me? Let's run far away, to a place where no one knows who we are. Only now do I understand the reason behind the kindness you showed me. But now I can no longer answer any of the words you once said to me. A long silence followed. Lord Ethan could not shed even a single tear, and in that silence, I cried in his place for that sorrow. After that, the carriage stopped somewhere. Ethan said, "We're here," and opened the carriage door for Paula. She stepped down and asked, "This is a village? I've never seen it before. Aren't you going to kill me?" "Me? Never. I'm only on my way to meet Vincent." "Little maid, you are only a person who appeared on a single page of this story. There is no reason for you to involve yourself in this matter, and no need for you to sacrifice yourself. Forget everything that happened here and walk your own path. I know far too much. Are you really fine with that?" "Do you intend to tell everything somewhere?" He took her hand and said, "My lady, you are the one who saved my friend. You are the one who comforted my younger brother, who always shut himself away. You are the one who helped us be together again. I will never forget that kindness. Not once have I called your name with all my heart. My lady, no, Paula. I wish you happiness. Lord Ethan, I also wish you happiness. I hope everyone can be happy. My world had never been a beautiful place. Crushed by poverty, children sold for money. Even the most basic conscience a person should have was lost. In that kind of life, only sorrow kept multiplying. And yet, after coming here, for the first time, I realized that life could be beautiful, that living together with others could make me feel happy. That even someone like me could have people wishing happiness for me. That I was allowed to live. If I leave this place, perhaps I will never see them again. I will bring you back to my side. Surely my master thinks I left in peace. Perhaps he is lonely, waiting for the day he can see me again. Perhaps I will never be able to see him again. So this is how everything ends. I only hope he does not shut himself up in that room again. I hope he can step outside and learn to love this world once more. And I pray that someday, even from far away, we may meet again." Darkness swallowed that small body whole. A secret remained a secret forever. And so, the Count's secret maid was swallowed by the darkness and vanished forever. Some time later, a young boy ran along shouting, "Extra, extra, extra." The newspaper headline read, "Count James Christopher arrested on suspicion of murder." Paula appeared in a wretched state, covered in grime, a broom in her hands. For the next 5 years, I first lived quietly, hiding in a village and surviving on the gold Lady Isabella had given me. But only a few days later, it was all pickpocketed away. I couldn't understand why my life never once went smoothly. While cursing my fate and wandering around empty-handed, I suddenly remembered my father and my third younger sibling in the Jean Fulton region. Before her stood a messy house, with things strewn all over the place. She called out, "Alicia." The girl rubbed her eyes and asked, "Who is it?" She cried out in shock, "Sis." Seeing her younger sister's filthy appearance, Paula asked, "How did you end up like this?" But Alicia rushed over and grabbed Paula by the collar. "It's all because of you. This is all your fault." Paula shoved her away. "What are you doing?" The home she had returned to was rotten and on the verge of collapse. Inside, it looked like total ruin, not a place fit for human beings. After calming Alicia down and hearing what had happened, she learned that several strange men had come looking for her. But since they could get no information, they were driven away. As for her father, he had used the money from selling her to drink and gamble, and in the end froze to death on the road. Such a meaningless death. Alicia asked, "Sis, what are we supposed to do now? How are we supposed to keep living?" "We live, that's how. We just have to go find work again." After that, I left home again to look for work. But because my identity was unclear, nowhere would hire me. So I had to sleep on the streets and dig through trash bins for food just to survive. I was used to a hard life, so heavy labor did not feel difficult to me. It was just that sometimes I would suddenly think of them. Were they living well? What were their lives like now? And him, my master, I wonder if he is living well. In her hand was a newspaper with the headline, "Princess's marriage announced. Her fiancé is Count Ben Lunita." Vincent Ben Lunita, a name I had not spoken for a very long time. The man who remained in me only as an aching longing. The first news of him after 5 whole years. The video will stop here for now. While waiting for the new series, please check out the other stories on Q Muoi Review to pass the time. Wishing you all joy and boundless energy. Goodbye, and see you again.